Hey everybody, Josh here. It's in a World Alternative Media here, and welcome to another live stream. We're going to go over a whole host of different things today. So make sure to send in your questions, press like, check those links below, and let's get to it. So as I wait for people to tune in, of course, I cannot go without mentioning that most of the videos we've been posting lately have been on the fact that there's a lot of tensions with Iran, and it didn't take us by surprise, but it definitely hit us almost blindsided, the timing. The second we get into the 2020s decade, everyone's like, all right, start fresh, start new. Oh, World War III. Okay, well, that's an issue. We got some people tuning in. We're going to go into all of that and more here on Wham today. I see the Phoenix of Liberty says, sup, Josh. Sup to you as well. Make sure to send in your questions and press like if you haven't already. Anyway, so yeah, we're going to talk about a few things in the news, and I've got some things I want to go over. I'm going to open up Zero Hedge as I so often do. Oh yeah, says I'm Irish, so I don't care. Conflict and millions of deaths. You should probably care about that. Just saying. Key to Lifestyle says hola, hola to you as well. Kate Cantanella says hello. Good to see you, Kate. And the Phoenix of Liberty says, Josh, what provisions and government violations would you want to see enumerated in an individual declaration of independence? Well, I think the most important thing that you have to highlight is just individualism, responsibility, individual responsibility over yourself, self ownership, no forced voluntary interactions between free people. Um, I think it's important that we are highlighting issues as for example, defense. Defense is super important to our freedom of speech. Without our ability to defend ourselves, we can't protect that speech. And, it goes on and on. But at the end of the day, rights aren't really a thing unless you protect them, unless you are, as an individual, protecting them. You can sign on to private contract governance systems. But with that said, I honestly, I personally, from my personal position here, I think that it's more important that we just, as individuals, learn how to protect ourselves and, defend ourselves against threats, foreign or domestic. And I'd say it would be mostly foreign, and that would be some massive state or organized crime racket deciding that they're going to take 50% of your earnings and spend it on blowing up babies and paying off the fraudulent interest on the debt via the legal tender, social contract, usury, currency system. Okay, we got Logan Nab says likelihood of civil unrest in Virginia very high, though it's hard to tell if people are actually going to do anything because people tend to be very weak and subservient these days. It's all part of a script that's been being played out for a very long time, and I see that continuing and getting worse with newer generations. But I don't think it'll last forever because it goes back to that saying. Hard times create strong men. Strong men create good times. Good times create weak men. Weak men create hard times, and then it repeats. And that seems to be the case. I was recently, I think, interviewing Lior Gantz here at Wham, where he kind of went into that a bit about how yeah, you can say that you have a family, you made a bunch of money, you pass down that money to your children pass down money to their children, but as generations go by, usually the third or fourth generation down is not only broke but also completely collective, completely subservient, completely weak. And that tends to be the case when you're given good opportunities, if you're surrounded by protection most of your life and coddled. Make sure to press like if you haven't already on this video. Oh yeah says, or oh yeah whatever, you're sorry, it says no, less people the better. Murdering babies is not okay, and if you think that we need less people in the world, you can be the first to take your life then. Music 101 says, hey, what's up, Josh? How are you? Good to see you. I'm not too bad. A little tired, a little groggy, but surviving. This YouTube purge, we've made $30 so far in this decade on YouTube, so we're not doing so well ourselves, but we're doing what we can with whatever time we have left here on this platform. I can't imagine it's much longer, but we're still here and we're still talking about stuff. And with the stuff happening with Iran lately, we're forced to talk almost only about possible war, which is all the worse as far as the YouTube censors go. So we're not allowed to make any money at all. And what's interesting is that we were seeing in the first 20 minutes of a video, it would hit 1100 to 1300 on average. But then, like a day later, it would be no higher than 4000. I mean, that doesn't make any sense with algorithm if you've studied the algorithm. The Phoenix of Liberty says individual responsibilities. Okay, I hadn't put that in yet. Just that is a basis of freedom itself. You cannot have freedom without responsibility. So when it comes down to freedom itself, when you're protecting freedom, you have to highlight individual responsibility and nothing less than that. I mean, that is what dictates what freedom really is at the end of the day. Okay, we got 104 people watching. Thank you everyone for tuning in. We're going to go over a whole host of things. Make sure to press like if you haven't already. Check those links below and help Wham any way you can. Super chats are really appreciated. Get your comments to the top. Really appreciate everyone tuning in. We're going to get into as much as we can today from my phone as my laptop decided to destroy itself about a week and a half, 2 weeks ago. Can't afford a new one, so I'm stuck on my phone live streaming instead of, with a whole setup and editing live and everything. Not great, but, life is what it is, and we are still authentic, independent media after all. Okay, so Stephen Williams says, war started in heaven, so what do you expect on earth? Nothing is new. Brace yourself for more. Well, it's true that there's good and evil in the world, and we experience both. Oh, yeah, yes, as the EU is trying to take my free speech. Of course they are. What can you expect? They are a monstrous entity of globalism that, and it, depends on the subservience of the masses, just like any national government, just a larger version of that. So yeah, of course they're going to try and do that, and they will continue until they're eradicated, like the rats that they are. Peter Brennan says, "Who are you voting for president later this year?" Well, first of all, I'm Canadian, so I can't vote for president. Second of all, I would vote for myself because only I know how to support myself. Only I know how to take ownership of myself, and I don't believe in other people owning me or collectively enslaving people under my ideology. I don't think it's right. The Phoenix of Liberty says, "Do you find it relevant to make an individual declaration of independence?" I mean, in a private contract, smaller communities, yeah, but on a larger scale, it's just paper at the end of the day. It's what you as an individual do that really protects you. I'm not going to say that it doesn't help the situation, say in a nationality like we have in the United States. It definitely helps a little bit, but people don't follow the Constitution. People don't follow the Declaration of Independence all that well, do they? I mean, the U.S. is a very globalist country, tied in with a military-industrial complex worldwide. So kind of goes against their own declaration. It's about, are they able to continue or perpetuate that declaration, or are they going to go up against it? Make sure to press like on this video if you haven't already. Thanks everyone tuning in. 125 people taking questions. Super chats are very much appreciated. Lex TR3 says, in a world of manipulator on top, what do you say is wrong? I'm not sure what you're saying or what you're getting at. My apologies. Grambo says, voluntarism and individualism is the future. Changed my mind. I absolutely agree. And it's the only the only way we can go about this that's both logical and, moralistic, I guess you could say, which is quite subjective, but nonetheless, I think that needs to be noted. Again, for those that are just tuning in, we are going to go into some news here. I'm just taking questions right now, so make sure to send in your questions. Key to Life says, Que pasto, Carlos Hernandez. Shinobi Wants says, yo, yo, good to see you, Shinobi. Grambo says, hey, another thing is that they confirmed the existence of aliens already. Thoughts? Yeah, the CIA has been releasing interesting documents for the last 10 years that say that there's extraterrestrial life. I don't really go into that subject too much because I don't know. And honestly, I'm kind of on Alex Jones's side as far as the interdimensional demons, more likely than gray aliens. But mathematically, there has to be something else in the universe that exists and lives in some kind of Goldilocks zone somewhere. Kate Cantanella gave thumbs up. I agree. Everyone should press thumbs up on this video. That helps the algorithm a lot. Legend TV says, yeah, this world went crazy a long, long, long time ago. Absolutely. But is it that it's getting crazier, or is it that we just have more access to crazy information with the age of the internet now? I mean, less and less these days because we're getting censored to death. But I mean, I feel like we are more prone to, be taking in crazy information because we have the internet today. Tim Hack says, press like. I agree. Shinobi Wan says, everybody take your daily dose of responsibility. So saying the master level newsman, or so says master level newsman Josh. I appreciate it. GMC4JC74 says, hashtag walk away Democrats, hashtag walk away Republicans. Agreed. Stop falling into the cult of collectivism, Pepsi or Coke. One's red, one's blue. They're both bad for you. They're probably both owned by the same company at the end of the day. and it's all just a big marketing stunt. The Silent Hunter said, "Vote chaos." Yeah, because you can get order out of chaos. Am I right? Bob Jones says World War III. We're already in World War III. It'll be closer to World War IV at this point. But with that said, um, I can't see Iran taking huge actions. But with that said, they have to base their defense up on fear, much like the U.S. does. The problem is the U.S. has killed millions of people. So I mean, I don't know. This is one of the things that really frustrates me is that we just have the perpetuation of the military-industrial complex, and every time we go around in a circle, people just sit on their hands and go, "Yeah, well, it's better than that other person." That's irrelevant. What is a person currently doing? It's like, well, Hillary would have started World War III. Okay, that's irrelevant. She didn't win. Just like the Democrats are obsessed with Hillary, the Republicans seem to be obsessed with Hillary too. She isn't the president, so why is that relevant? Yeah, she's an evil witch, but let's look at what's happening right now. And children are being blown up. So why is it relevant what someone else would have done? Oh, they would have been worse. Okay, sure. But the lesser of evil is still evil, and thousands are dying. So we should be standing up for those people rather than saying, okay, but this guy. Well, what about that guy? Let's talk about what the current state of reality is that we're in. Um, so that's my takeaway on it. I mean, I think that at the end of the day, people under Clinton who were attacking Clinton for bombing people sat on their hands under Bush, but then there's all these anti-war left people that came up and called out Bush, who ran on a non-interventionist policy. Funny enough, and millions died. And then all those anti-war people under Bush, Obama came in, bombed more people than any president in history statistically, and then all these anti-war people under Bush sat on their hands. And now we're seeing the same thing repeat over and over again. A lot of the libertarian, so-called libertarian community that's not really libertarian is sitting on their hands in this case. Well, trust the plan, 4D chess. That's BS. I've lost so many subscribers lately for calling that out, and I don't care. I'm going to say principle. I don't care what anyone else says. At the end of the day, I'm not going to support massive globalism under the guise of killing the deep state. It's ridiculous. Millions have died. How many more millions need to die before people smarten up and stop following this ancient Greek tactic that we've seen going on for millennia? Let's see. Tim Felger says, what about Dane Wigington and geoengineering? I'm kind of annoyed with him and the way he came out against J. Edward Griffin and fudged a bunch of stuff. I just don't have a lot of respect for him. But I'm all for what he talked about. I studied geoengineering for a long time, and he's definitely onto something there. But I think it's overblown in certain ways, but it's definitely a thing that's happening. Um, Anyway, GMC4JC74 says that World War III started on 9/11. Yeah, or even sooner, because I mean there was a lot of conflict in that region before that. I mean, when has the U.S. not been at war? That's a real question. It's not like when were the wars, but when weren't there wars? Oh yeah, yes. As the U.S. and EU push for murdering babies in Ireland by interference in the vote on abortion. Yeah, well, Ireland has been treated like trash for centuries by foreign governments, and it's really sad if you go into the history of Ireland. Even the walls today that you see portioned off throughout Ireland, these little fences and walls, brick walls, are the remnants of the slave culture that rose up in Ireland long ago. Um, and just where they portioned off properties and it kept people in little communist groups. Anyways, it's just terrible. I can go into that at another time. Shinobi Wan says it's actually going to be Clown World War One. Yeah. Aristos Milopoulos says Greek says hello to Canadian. Hello to you. I'm actually going to be in Greece in the next several months. I'm forced to. So because of demonetization, censoring, and shadow banning, I'm only making maybe a few dollars a day, and I can't afford a rent or anything. So I'm selling everything I own, all my things except for some of my clothes, my computer, and my cameras, and I'm gonna live off on the road. And there's some great places like Iraklio in Greece and a few other places in eastern Greece, close to Italy, that are extremely cheap, $150 to $350 a month rent, all bills included and furnished. So I'm gonna do that to try and stay alive for a little while, so I can continue doing videos for you guys. And this is why pressing like, sending super chats, sending donations, checking those links below, getting merchandise from our store, also linked below, helps us out a lot. Rob B says, now we trust CIA. Well, I sure don't. Lirad Guitar says World War and economic collapse, the perfect storm to usher in the reset. After extensive carnage, of course, the remaining populace will be begging for the NWO. Yeah, and that's the thing, because they always get people in circles with the comfort of subservience and ignorance, asking for the same entity that created the problem to come in as a solution. So I honestly think that, yeah, it's perfect for the reset. I mean, as far as the crash of the dollar goes, I mean, the monetary system needs a war and vice versa. And they're going to do what they did in Rome and go into deficit spending, print a whole bunch, and instead of doing coin clipping, they will, portion down foods and beverages to a smaller size, but charge the same price. So you're getting less for the value, so it doesn't look as crazy as when you have hyperinflation, where suddenly bread becomes $500. They'll just give you less bread until they have no choice anymore but to let it hyperinflate, or just completely collapse, and it'll be a quick switch over to, I don't know, gold, silver, crypto, and other things. So we'll see. But I definitely think that this is something that they are depending on, a war. It's something that they've always depended on as far as the economy. And that goes back to ancient Rome, as I said. And on our profile, on our channel, we do have a documentary video that I did in Rome, in the city of Rome, breaking down the Roman Empire versus the U.S., British, French, German empires. And Israel, of course. So I definitely suggest people check that out if you haven't already. Fall of Empires, I think it was called. And press like on this video if you haven't already. 172 people watching. Glad that people are tuning in. The algorithm's been slightly more on my side lately because we've been talking about what's happening in Iran, though they're not. They're all immediately demonetized as soon as I post them. So making no money at all after that. Let's see. I'm just going through a few of the comments. There's a lot coming up. I need to catch up a bit. But Josh Pace says, are we entering our generation's end time according to the Bible's revelations? Well, we're entering into the age of Aquarius, and the Mayans had like a 40-year ticker between the 2012. It wasn't the end of the world as much as the end of a generation, which Graham Hancock goes into extensively in Magicians of the Gods. So I definitely think everyone should check out that book. It really goes into a lot of those things from a spiritual angle. Daniel M614DM sent a nerdy smiley face. Well, to you as well. I'm Chuko says, if only we all just came together as one, we could advance in so many ways really fast. Yeah, but we have to be careful about that wording, because coming together as one could be considered a collectivist idea that brings people together, like communism, and that's not really bringing people together as much as it's making everyone equally poor and enslaved. So to some centralized entity, of course. Key to Life Style says, geoengineering for sure. How about Agenda 2030? Well, I think we might be seeing evidence of that in Australia right now with the fires. It's just absolutely tragic what we're seeing there. Really sad. And I think there's a lot of evidence of that. Gulag G says, Josh, you should work for Alex Jones now that you're broke. No, I'm not. No, I don't. I work for myself and our viewers. I'm not doing that. I've talked with Alex Jones, nice guy and everything. I agree with a lot of what he says. I've been watching him since I think 2007 or 2006. But with that said, I'm on my own with this, and I got to find a way to transition into the next major step. I mean, we are getting censored, so the question is, what am I going to do about it? And that's what I'm really focusing on right now. But in that transition, I need your help. So pledges from Patreon, Subscribestar, GoFundMe, float.app, flote.app. You can join me there. Please join float.app. I mean, seriously, flote.app. Go find me at Josh Searson as well as at Wham. You can find the links below in the description. That helps a lot. We need to move over to these other social media networks as we're getting censored to death. I mean, and stop. There's nothing we can do about it other than moving on and using our own demand to decide our own futures and our own fate. Let's see. Got a few comments coming up here. I've answered about Dane Wigginton already. Shinobi One says, well, they will need to take your guns for the clown war. Yeah, and good luck with that. I mean, there's a lot of people willingly giving them up with red flag laws, but I don't think it's going to be overly successful long term. Americans like their guns. Oh, yeah, says there's 80 meters on, or 80 million on Trump's head. Yeah, but the problem is you'd be killed. Is it worth it? I mean, people that are going to try and take that money, I mean, first of all, it would just cause an all-out war. Iran knows better than that. The U.S. doesn't, apparently. But also, if you took that bounty, you just end up probably dead really soon after that anyway, and you can't enjoy the $80 million. Besides, that money's going to be worthless soon. That's why they're going to war in the first place. Kate Catanella says, according to Michael Bloomberg, he has said, there's no difference in either party. They both are beholden to their corporate donors. He should know. Yeah, and Michael Bloomberg's a tyrant. I did a video called Michael Bloomberg's a Tyrant not that long ago, about, I think, within the last month, up on Wham. Grambo says, left the bubble of the left-right dichotomy. Reasons why I'm an anarcho-individualist leaning agorist, while liking the idea of futurism and anarcho-transhumanism as well. Well, I mean, the thing is, one way or another, we're entering into the future, and all these people that are resistant, like, oh, well, you know, AI and all that stuff is scary. Yeah, it is. It certainly is. When it's in their hands, why don't we do something about it instead of sitting on our hands going, oh, that's terrible. The free market works better than the government, so let's do what we can with those technologies and better them. Shinobi Wan says, awful workplaces 100. Yeah. By the way, press like on this video if you haven't already, and share it around. We're at 176 people out of 136,000 people. Not great, but better than usual with the shadow banning. So make sure to share and like and invite people to watch. MP says, at this time, it is up to Israel whether or not war occurs between the U.S. and Iran. Yeah, well, I mean, it's up to several international communities, and they benefit from war. That's why they tried to stage the Gulf of Oman attack back in June of 2019, trying to get Iran, or trying to get the public's favor for war with Iran, just like they did that, what they called Sexta Syria dossier, in order to get people to support going to war with Syria, even though they had no evidence, as they said themselves, of Assad gassing his own people. And they lied, as the Afghanistan papers show, about the war in Afghanistan. It just perpetuates forever, and we just keep falling for it. It's sickening. Bebe R. Rodriguez says, be very afraid, people. Shake my head. These fools all ready to push the button. Yeah, big red button that says do not push. Trump's like, presses it. There we go. Millions dead. Like, this is just great, guys. Just great. We'll just keep perpetuating the same system over and over again. Anyway, make sure to press like on this video if you haven't already. MP says, Israel very much wants this war as a means of putting Iran and Syria into chaos. Well, they've already done a good job. I know it's there is something to be said about the Greater Israel Project, but I think it's just statism, collectivism, and evil that we're dealing with in the first place from all ends. That includes China and Saudi Arabia as well. It's just the perpetuation of mass murder is what keeps people in fear and in check and bowing down to the state perpetually while being impoverished by them. Awful Workplaces says, they asked Albert Einstein how World War III will be fought, and he said, I don't know, but World War IV will be fought with sticks and stones. I see a retracted message there. MP says, thus leaving Hezbollah isolated and unsupplied, then Israel can succeed in occupying southern Lebanon. Lebanon is such an incredibly historic place, and it makes me sick to see any warmongering. There's same with anywhere, but I mean, like Syria, the whole region is just so incredibly historic, and to see the level of destruction, it makes me very sad. I was right on the Syrian border in Turkey just about a month and a half, 2 months ago, and it was just such an amazing area, amazing country, amazing people. And, all you see on the news is fear and extremists, and they're not really like that there. There's the elements of that, of course, but I think we mostly see the Wahhabism in places like Europe, where people are brought over there and they're culture shocked, and they get more and more extreme, and they don't like this, what they consider sins surrounding them. I mean, I think that has a lot to do with a lot of this issue at hand. But it's just such an amazing region, and having spent time there, I mean, I think everyone should throw away their inhibition, throw away their fear, and don't submit to their fear, and check out some things outside of their own bubbles if they can. Just beautiful and historic. Anyway, so let's see. GMC4JC74 says, Donald Trump is a Mason and went to Jesuit school. Jared Kushner used to work with George Soros. Yeah. Tim Hernandez says, bless Ja. Aristos Milopoulos says, not Greek tactic. Okay. The Phoenix of Liberty sent $5 in the super chat. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. Says, thanks for addressing the questions. I'm working on writing a global individual's declaration of independence in the vein of Davy Barker's pirate code. Very interesting. Well, thank you for sharing that. I'm going to have to look into that. I really appreciate the super chats. Those mean a lot to us, and it really helps us survive here. It's the only thing that we make any money off of here at WAM these days. So thank you very much for that. Really appreciate those super chats. Make sure to press like on the video too. That helps us out a lot as well, and share the video too. That helps. All those links in the description. There's lots to look at there. Lots of opportunities for people to help support independent media and get something out of it as well. Tim Felger says, "Why don't you interview him? Because you are dead wrong. It is so important, and everything else is a game." Well, it's not the only important thing. It's part of a greater issue, Tim. And I'm not dead wrong about him. Why am I dead wrong about him? I said that it was one of the first things I studied when I first got into media early on. It was when I was hosting events about stratospheric aerosol geoengineering. It's not about that. It's that Dane Wigington attacked a good friend of mine, G. Edward Griffin, who is one of the most brilliant, decent human beings I've ever met. And Dane just spread a bunch of lies about him and attacked him, and it was wrong. After Ed gave him so much and helped him out so much, it was just wrong. So I don't really like him as a person. Awful. I think I actually got in a fight with him personally once too. I can't remember. Anyway, awful workplace. It says Mark Taylor has said Trump was elected by God in heaven. Yeah, Pompeo was saying the same thing. Imagine that mentality. It's just so statist. Hareshwar Patil says Project Greater Israel has started as per schedule. Yeah, they've been working on that for a long time. Christine Hansen says Anand Guradades. I don't know what that means. Tamarishka AV Edwards says, indeed, did World War II finish? It's hard to say. I mean, they're just kind of, the United Nations came in, the CIA, the Exchange Stabilization Fund, and all these entities, and IMF, etc. And, well, we know that there's been a massive amount of war nonstop since the inception of the United Nations. So, I mean, there's no doubt that they didn't help, and they may very well have made things much worse. So, yeah, I think there's something to be said about that. Awful Workplace, it says, Wham, thank you for your support. Yeah, I really appreciate everyone's support. Making sure to press like and super chats and all those really means a lot. I'm getting down the comments as fast as I hear through a lot of questions. Super chats help a lot, though, guys. Tu Schmart says the left wanted war with Syria, Russia, not Iran. Screws up their wish list. I don't know. The 7-country plan seems to point fingers at Iran. They've been going after Iran for a very, very long time, attempting to destabilize it and destroy it. And Iran just found a ridiculous amount of oil right as all this happened. So it's interesting that that happened too. Shell Campbell says, awful workplaces. So did Kim Clement in February 2014. Tim Felger says, why don't you interview Dane Wigington? I've answered that, and I can interview him, but I'm not a big fan of the way he treated a good friend of mine. The Phoenix of Liberty says, hashtag van life. Are you familiar with Vonu? It sounds familiar. I think so. Tim, can you not write the same question like 40 times? Like, I'm just scrolling and I'm just seeing the same thing over and over again. I'm seeing every question. You don't have to write it 40 times. I appreciate the comments, but seriously. Aristos Milopolis says, good luck, Greece is paradise. Yeah, I love Greece. Nafplio, one of my favorite places I've ever seen in my life. Just, I honestly almost hidden. It's an ancient Egyptian port for Argos, and it was just, it's close to Athens. I really don't like Athens, but the rest of Greece I really like. And it's just, Nafplio was just one of the most amazing places I've ever been, and I loved it. Again, for those that are just tuning in, make sure to press like. We're going to talk about a bunch of news stories, and I'm getting into as many questions as possible. But what happened was that they demonetized us so insanely here at YouTube, and they shadow banned us to death, that we've been forced to go into a position where I'm selling everything I own. I'm getting rid of my vehicle. I'm going homeless, getting off my rent, all that kind of stuff. Selling everything but my clothes, some of my clothes, and my cameras and laptop, and microphone, of course, and moving over to the other side of the world to live in a place like Greece, where, or as well as like Cyprus, Egypt, and that region, because you can, through Airbnb on monthly basis, get $150 to $350 a month rent with bills and everything included. So I'll just be able to make it that way, and I'll be able to continue making these videos, because right now they've bankrupted us here, and they're trying to censor us and muzzle us, and it's the craziest attack on free speech I've ever seen in my lifetime anyway. So anyway, John Wagner says, you're a good dude. Thanks for doing what you do. I appreciate it, John. Tim, you keep saying if you do not believe Dane Wigington, then interview him and maybe you will awaken. Awaken. I just went. How many times do I have to say I do believe what he's saying? I just don't like him attacking friends of mine. And you just wrote that comment 3 or 4 more times. Just stop it. Tim Hicks says war then famine. Absolutely. I mean, it won't take long after the grid goes down. I mean, what, a few days and grocery stores will be out of everything. People will be starving because they're not independent and free and responsible enough to take care of themselves. And that was all part of a script that has played out over a long period of time. Alukia says another day in the Matrix. Absolutely. Andrew Ken says, man, Greece does sound good. Yeah, and it's insanely cheap if you go through Airbnb for monthly rents, and they take a big percentage off of the daily rent if you do a month. And on top of that, the bills and the internet and the furnishing is covered, so you don't have to pay any of that. And I won't have any vehicle or anything. It's a good way for me to save some money, or at least not be completely bankrupted like I am right now. I'm insanely in debt. Grambo says, Aristos Milopoulos, Greece is a hollow state now. Well, governments everywhere are, and the state is definitely terrible in Greece. There's no doubt about that. Let's see. D1R3 Wolf says they already do that. Big bag, no food inside. Yeah, with the portioning of the food, absolutely. Tim Hicks says forced vaccinations are coming. They're already here in a lot of places. John Wagner says this has been part of a plan since the 1950s. I agree. I'm going to skip a bunch of Tim Felger's comments because he's just saying the same thing over and over again. Awful Workplaces says, Shell, there's another like Kim Clement. More comments from that Tim guy. Oh, my God. The Phoenix of Liberty sent another $5 in the super chat. Thank you so much. I truly appreciate that. He says, would you be interested in listening to an anarchist, voluntarist, libertarian music show, interviews with various liberty artists and such? Yeah, of course I'd be interested. I'm always interested in people actually getting up and doing something with the knowledge that they have. It's very important in spreading that knowledge as far and wide as possible. So definitely interested. I don't actually watch a lot of other people's content, mostly because I just work on my own 24/7, usually around 17 hours a day on average. But, I'm definitely interested in other people picking it up. And, with World Alternative Media, we're always meant to be a channel, not as much meant to be, a show. We are multifaceted. We want multiple personalities and all that kind of stuff. Tim Hicks says the Iran war is a big war before the end of the USA. Absolutely. AAAA says why you broke, because YouTube cut my monetization by now closer to 97% since January last year because we're controversial hate speech content. Anyway, Hijinks says anyone who still trusts Alex Jones needs to look into Stratfor. Tim Felger says Alex Jones is a goof. AAAA says work at Tim Hortons. I have like comebacks, but I can't even like attack people anymore because YouTube has new terms of services where they'll like take down your channel and possibly fine you if you bully someone. And by bullying, they mean like responding to attacks on you. So whatever, you enjoy your trolling. GMC4JC74 says, show me the money. Yeah. Andrew Cannon says, I just watched your Bernie video. That was hilarious. Thank you. Very few people have seen that video because that was insanely shadow banned. I confronted Bernie Sanders last year. Like no one saw it. It got 7,000 views in the first, I think 30 minutes of it being posted. And now it's at like 9,000 almost a year later. It's really sad. And I got thrown out, almost arrested. It was a whole situation. I confronted him on his association with Soviet Russia and his support for Soviet Russia. Oh yeah, says, yeah, Alex is a troll. Keto Lifestyle says, what is the difference between Float and BitChute? Float replaces Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, Tumblr, Reddit, and Patreon all in one with encrypted messaging, super chats on the live streams, as well as videos with monetization. BitChute is just, it's just videos. And honestly, there's no monetization. And I like BitChute. I'm on BitChute. You can find our link to BitChute below and subscribe to us on there. But there's so many glitches, and it's been driving me crazy. It's been almost impossible to upload videos on there lately. So I'd say float.app, FLOTE.app is the best chance to for defeating the mainstream social media networks. They're brilliant. They do amazing work, and if you want to invest in it, reach out to me at worldalternativemedia@gmail.com, and I'll pass that on because honestly, I think there's great opportunities there, and I think there's a lot to be said about the future of social media is not just being crypto based, so that you can use crypto on it, but focused on what individuals that the regular average person will, enjoy and like and support. And that's where we spread our information far and wide, and that's how we reach the next generation. Make sure to press like on this video if you haven't already. Let's get to some more questions. Um, MP. Oh, wait a second. Tim Felger says, yes, you answered, but you gave the answer to demonstrate you know nothing. Wow, good job on that one. Please keep writing the same comment 40 times. I'm sure I'm going to take you a lot more seriously. MP says, what is your email, Josh? worldalternativemedia@gmail.com. If you want to enter our newsletter, you can send an email to worldalternativemedia@gmail.com and use subject line yes, and I will add you. Alex S says, keep to your own shtick. Best to be independent. I agree. Alukia says to Tim Felger, chill out. I agree. Just writing the same comment over and over again. You're super cool, dude. Mr. B says, top man, Josh, Happy New Year. Happy New Year to you as well. Glad you joined us again. Catanella, more thumbs up. I agree. Make sure to hit that thumbs up. Make sure to hit like if you haven't already. I'm losing a ton of subscribers right now because I'm calling out war. Apparently, people haven't been watching me and think for some reason, would think that I would support war and murdering people. It's ridiculous. Has anyone been paying attention? Come on. Marco B says everyone's under the Rothschild grip. Yeah. GMC 4JC74 says Tim Felger, stop. I agree. Hijinks says, yep, I already did like Wigington, but if he attracts people like that, I'm sure they'll not listen to him. Yeah. To Schmart says, red flag laws are going to be socially automated soon after the concerned phone call law passes. They will let social AI make the decision in the future. Chester Wolf, the Griffin says, hello, I'm here. Hello to you. John Wagner says, why is YouTube shadow banning people trying to share truth? Because they don't care about money. They care about controlling the narrative, because people move from mainstream media to YouTube. So mainstream media got panicked because they're controlled by the establishment, governments, banks, etc. So they came in, took over YouTube essentially, and now are attacking everyone that has any independent thought. So that's why I think essentially they're shadow banning me, because they don't want anything outside of the mainstream fear mongering to get out there. So that's why they destroyed us. They've cut us down about 90% in viewership now, and close to 97% in monetization since January last year. We were the fastest growing independent media in the world one day, and the next we were cut down to almost nothing. So we make $3 to $10 a day on YouTube in monetization now, and it's just brutal. So those super chats are all that we can use right now. Like GoFundMe, Patreon, Subscribestar, Float.app pledges as well, all that. It's the only thing that's really helping us not completely go hungry and not be able to post videos every day, which is why I'm selling everything I own, moving to the other side of the world to live as a nomad so I can keep posting videos. If people say that I do this for money, I wouldn't be doing this for money, or I wouldn't be doing this in a period. I wouldn't be forced to give up everything I have and move to the other side of the world homeless, so I could keep doing this. But I believe in it and I'm passionate about it. Bobby Blake says, hi, Josh. Do you think the Iranians have the technical ability to shut down the U.S. power grid, and would they dare do that? Well, can they possibly, hypothetically, would they? Probably not. Do they actually have the ability? Probably not. And also, that would be stupid on their part, because they have to hold up their empire, and the U.S. has been trying to catch them in a little blip so they can run them over and destroy them and kill them all. And it very well could be part of the greater Israel plan. Hijinks says, yep, red flag laws and pre-crime tech all rolled into one. Yep. Virtual Moida says, truth. Too Smart says, Israel always puts itself in the best position for themselves. Absolutely. Well, for government and control. It's like China. It's like Saudi Arabia, too. Hijinks says, just found out recently, and the U.S., I should have said. I should have said as well. Hijinks says, just found out recently to governor signed executive orders giving fusion centers more money and power, which is essentially red flag laws. Yeah, it's just getting crazy. They're trying to take away defenses, but it's never been easier to make guns in your garage, folks. Or 3D printing guns. Cody Wilson is back doing that as well. Bob Jones says, what about silver? Life-changing? Thanks for being here. Yeah, well, silver is probably one of the most undervalued things, in my opinion, I've ever seen, especially with the level of manipulation we've seen over the last several years. I feel like I'm really behind on the chat here. I'm 15 minutes behind. Layla says, Josh, Americans are nuts. They're losing everything. Yeah, and including all their money, and the middle class is dead. Too Smart says, red flag laws equal no-knock welfare checks. Uh, yeah, I don't know. Free says Australia is burning geoengineering with chemtrail fallout. Makes bushfires more fierce as well as poisoning plants, animals, and humans. We are in World War III now, a silent war with quiet weapons. I think they're just trying to unroll Agenda 2030 there. And it's clear with their technocratic grid that they're rolling out in places like Darwin in Australia. Too Smart says Twitch swatters are going to love red flag laws. Chester Wolf, it doesn't show your entire name, but Chester Wolf sent $3 in the super chat and put a sticker that says "My Hero." Thank you. I really appreciate those super chats. It really means a lot to us, and the support from people like all of you guys watching right now. I can't tell you how much it does mean to me. So I thank you for that. Pressing like helps as well. Anything helps, guys. So thank you for those super chats. It's what's keeping us up and running right now. So hope for the best that we can break through to the next transitional period outside of this mainstream network we call YouTube. Baby R. Rodriguez says you have great perspective. However, the ME are somewhat antiquated in their thinking. I'm sorry, the ME, I can't think of what exactly you mean by ME, but I appreciate the compliments anyway. Kate Cantanella says, or Catanella says, Dane attacked Jim Lee too. Dane's an egomaniac. Yeah, he's attacked a lot of people I know. Robbie Sheik says, be warned of an Israeli false flag on the U.S. to blame Iran. Possible, very possible. Probably seen it already. Crouton Scarf, John. Hey, how's it going? Says Trump says America needs a unifying event. Yeah, he did say that a little while back ago. Nature Knows says, hey guys, you've seen Trump Jr. shares image of himself posing with Air 15 with image of Hillary Clinton behind bars on magazine. Lol, Draft Dodger's son is trying to distract people while his, and then that's the rest of that comment. It doesn't show anything else. Anyway, Hijinks says sounds just like something someone said right before 9/11. Eh? Yeah, totally. Nature Knows says claimed second a loving father quiet on what's going on in Virginia. Yeah. By the way, you should see our video that we did a while back ago where we interviewed people on the streets of Vancouver, Canada, asking Canadians if they would support a Second Amendment type thing there. And I debated all these people on the street. It was quite funny. It's got a couple 100,000 views, I think, at this point. We just debated people, did a streeter. I was with Dan Dix of Press for Truth at the time doing that. Very interesting and entertaining as well. Because I know those gun stats, and it's not difficult to debunk the claims by the anti-gun leftists out there that support massive state infringement of free speech and individual liberty and all that kind of stuff. You own yourself; no one else owns you. Don't allow anyone else to say that they own you. MP says they found 50 billion barrels. Yeah, that's right, in Iran. Hijinks says Trump loves and supports the Second Amendment as much as the NRA does. Yeah, really, right? Oh, man. Whenever people are like, the NRA is killing kids, I'm like, what? First of all, no. And second, the NRA isn't even supportive of gun rights. Tim Hack says the Wall Street is still very calm about this Iran thing. That is a thing I want to understand. Maybe the war is not as imminent as some think it is. Well, check out crypto and gold though. It's been a pretty big boom from that. But a lot of weapons manufacturers are making a lot of money off of in their stocks off of the fear. Anyway, Awful Workplaces said thank you for the shout out. I'm an independent voter with a small channel. I like the shirts you have on YouTube store. Thank you very much. Yeah, check out our Teespring store in the link below. Lots of interesting stuff, including a shirt that says no war in Iran. Wear it loud and proud, guys, and help support independent media by purchasing one of our t-shirts or some of our merchandise. We have phone cases, leggings, socks, all sorts of stuff, pillows, I think. Kate Catanella put the thumbs up again. I agree. Again, thank you for reminding me. Press like on this video if you haven't already. I appreciate it. Helps with the algorithm for sure. And the Fed 2011 says, Josh, did you see Ricky Gervais' monologue? Yeah, I watched that last night. It was definitely entertaining. A lot I don't like about Ricky Gervais, but that was definitely a champion speech and calling them out for Epstein. But you know what I found interesting? A lot of my most hardcore anarchist and conspiracy theorist friends all started watching the Golden Globes when I saw that. It's almost like they're utilizing, like this is just a random theory and I could very well be wrong, but what if they're just utilizing anti-establishment points because they know people are falling off the cliff with this kind of stuff in order to get them to watch these dying shows like the Golden Globes more? because Golden Globes is doing terrible with ratings, as is the Oscars. I didn't even know it was happening until it was already happening. So, I mean, yeah, I think there it could be said that maybe it's done in order to get people to watch, and it's like a limited hangout kind of thing. But I definitely enjoyed the monologue, and it was definitely smart and intelligent as per usual. A says move into the Swedish guy's basement, whatever, dude. And the Fed 2011 says Ricky Gervais called out Hollywood elites. Yeah, Nicholas Schulten says wow. Two Schmartz says Israeli false flags is not conspiracy. Remember, U.S. has liberty in Egypt. It's proven fact. They love being the small dog, tricking the big dog into protection. Yeah, and you can't forget LBJ saying kill all those you know what's on board on tape. That a bunch of the soldiers on board that survived when it limped back to port heard. Anyway, Hijinks says, as a joke, they're just rubbing it in more. Yeah, Adirondack Schiller says, thoughts on this Bitcoin pump? Iran. It's all Iran. Fear drives things like safe havens like crypto and gold and silver for sure. The Phoenix of Liberty says, end the Fed 2011. That was hilarious. Kate Catanella says, Ricky Gervais is brilliant. Robbie Sheik says, be warned of an Israeli false flag on the U.S. to blame Iran. And the Fed 2011 says, yeah, they looked like they were squirming. Jim Diggs 1 says, do you think the war will be blamed for the economic crash? I think they're utilizing the war in order to save the economy right now, and that's what they've done historically, which I went into a bit earlier. But I definitely think that there's a script here that's playing out, and it is related directly to the economy because they don't want to lose control in a crisis like the economy completely collapsing. We've been in a recession since 2008, papered over this whole time, and it's about to continue. And they're worried, and they need a war, and the monetary system always needs wars to survive, just like ancient Rome. And the Fed 2011 says, funny that the camera focused on Tom Hanks' reaction. Yeah, that was weird. Nature Knows sent $5 in the super chat. Thank you so much. I really, truly appreciate that. That's awesome. Those super chats go a long way here at WHAM, and it's the only thing that's really keeping us alive. So thank you so much. Super chats, pressing like, checking out those links below, helping support us, finding us on float.app. All that helps. flote.app. That's flote.app. Find me at Josh Sigurdson as well as at Wham. Dire Wolf said dire equals dire wolf. All right. Parminder Rantawa says go to D Live. Yeah, I've been on there, but when they deleted everyone's videos about a year and a half ago, I was not happy about it. So I'm a little bit concerned about that, like Ernest Hancock is as well. Kenneth Newberry says, talk about the reshot structure, please. What's the latest? I do have news on that, but I literally can't talk about it right now. I have something big coming up on the reshot structure. I'm really looking forward to bringing it to you guys. It's more history being made, and I'll be bringing that to you guys soon. But I'm definitely, I will be going back to the reshot structure. I can tell you that. And there might be some major players that are interested in it as well that I've been talking to. So we will be talking about that shortly. I can't release any more information than that. I apologize, but I can show you something right now that I got from the reshot structure. I'm always proud to show it here. Let's bring the light over here to my shelf of goodies from all over the world. All right, let's see. So this is one of the blue rocks from the reshot structure in Mauritania, Africa, that I brought back. When you look from the sky, sorry, I have to keep scrolling the chat or else it'll disappear the chat. You can see it looks like a blue eye, almost like the Eye of Horus. And here we have one of the blue rocks. It's amazing how blue it actually is. So that's super cool. Very proud of that. I also got a few other things from the reshot, like this rock here. I got this big one that was actually Anna Pachenta's, but I ended up with it somehow. And you could see, sorry, I gotta keep it in this weird selfie mode. I bought this from a woman in the middle of the desert close to the reshot structure as well. So definitely some interesting stuff. Very proud of the goodies that I brought back from Mauritania. All right, let's get back to some questions here. Be Rational says, main problem with alternative platforms is that if you watch on iPhone, Apple TV, or Roku, you can't watch them. I'm not sure what you mean by that. The Phoenix of Liberty says, I don't know what is real and fake anymore, though. It could have been all used to serve the public a useful idiot controlled opposition pill. Yeah. Too Smart says shadow ban in the future will be turning off your barcode like in Demolition Man. Just look at China and their social credit stores. Absolutely, and businesses can utilize social credit for in a good way. Association is a free thing. There's nothing anti-freedom about it. It's when government utilizes it and creates an Orwellian centralized society. And one way or another, more likely than not, the free market, even though it's better than government, will likely vote for more control. That's the way most people are, unfortunately, and we have to look at our own ways around that or out of that situation. Anyway, if you haven't already, make sure to press like on this video. Kenneth Newberry says, did Indie Archaeology get a date back on that artifact? I have absolutely no idea. It's a long story there. AA says, smash like. I appreciate that. Yeah, definitely press like on this video. Helps the algorithm. And check out those links below and super chats and all that kind of stuff. Sharing the video, it all means a lot to us and it helps us out a lot. We got at the peak of this video 199 people watching at a time. It never breaks over 200 anymore. YouTube doesn't allow it. But nonetheless, I appreciate the 147 people still watching out of 136,000 people. At least it's some percentage of the people that choose to watch us are actually seeing what we're posting. Michael Cross says, yo, Josh, you think Trump does not want people to know about this Jewish background or the support he gives Israel PM? Well, I'm pretty sure he's not secretive about his support of Israel. That's for sure. I mean, he's insanely over the top pro-Israel. Sorry, my thing keeps freezing. Anyway, Jackie Archambault says, hey, Josh, best wishes. I'm living in an RV right now. I think I'll sell all my stuff. That includes 2 storages and move to Greece as well. By the way, I use Airbnb for my investments. Yeah, well, Airbnb is amazing for that kind of stuff because you can basically get really good deals on housing, monthly rates of like $150 to $350 a month in tropical paradises with bills and furnishing included. If you are working online and you don't have to be in a specific place, it's very, very, very helpful to people. And I definitely encourage people to step out of their comfort zones and try it out. Chester Wolf the Griffin sent $5 in the super chat. Thank you again so much. I really, truly appreciate that. He says, finally caught a live stream, the last 2 ones. I had no idea you posted them. YouTube keeps trying to force me to watch the recommended video list. Yeah, and most of that's like Fox News and CNN, right? I really appreciate it. Glad that you got around the algo somehow here. And I really, truly appreciate the support. Those super chats go a hugely long way here at WHAM, along with those likes. If you press like on those videos and find us on float.app, flote.app, find that in the description as well as a whole bunch of crypto addresses, which goes into my next comment here. Almar Robar said Bitcoin going to 10K in the next couple of weeks. That could possibly happen for sure. I mean, it jumped from 7,400 to 10,000 about 2 months ago, like randomly after Chinese news, but they were obviously trying to pump and then dump the market, unfortunately, which is something that you're going to see everywhere. There's always market manipulation from big countries and banks and stuff. But that'll eventually simmer down quite significantly when the banking system goes down, inevitably. But with the war talk, certainly a big opportunity for cryptocurrency. That's for sure. When people are afraid of what could come next, possible, all-out war, people tend to look at things like cryptocurrencies as a safe haven, and we saw that with the Syria situation too a couple years ago. Michael Cross says, Israel, Saudi, and America trying to force Iran to make a move. Absolutely. They have been for a very, very long time. Ed Abbott, our Alaskan cabin, said 2 thumbs up. I agree. Thumbs up. I appreciate it. Thank you very much. Fidel himself says, we should all be seasteading. Yes, unless you're actually Fidel himself. It's just absolutely terrible jokes. I apologize for that. But yeah, I like your profile picture, the voluntarist NCAP colors. Anyway, Jimmy B747 said, great show, you're right on, I appreciate it. Trick the Seed Card Caretaker said, Josh, how do you feel personally about our situation with Iran? I feel like it's just mass murder and they've been poking these people forever. I'm not saying the Iran government is good because they're not, but you just keep poking people and people get shocked when they poke back. I mean, these Iranian militants that were killed, the 25 of them were killing ISIS members in the region that were armed and funded by the U.S. government. I mean, and then the U.S. it kills them, and then people take over an embassy, and then Trump has Soleimani killed. I mean, it's just that's the equivalent of killing Mike Pence in general for him. It's just horribly stupid terrible, terrible move and could potentially lead to as many as millions more deaths in the Middle East. And it makes me sick because it's just such a inviting region, despite popular knowledge on that. Hijink says, seems that way to me too, Microcross, and if they don't, they'll probably just fake it. Alukia says Microcross, and there's only so many moves. Microcross says, looks like Iran was shutting down ISIS. Yeah, and Microcross says, Deep State did not like that. Kenneth Newberry said, reshot structure. I'm really behind in the comments. I apologize for that. I'm at 4:50 p.m. and it is now 5:06 p.m. So I'm going to try and go through these as fast as possible and get to the most recent ones because I'm a little bit behind. That's why super chats help a lot. Make sure to press like if you haven't already. Again, I just have to keep mentioning that. Hydrink says, yep, lots of good info about Iran conflict on video posted by Corbett today. If anyone hasn't seen it, absolutely. James Corbett is brilliant. One of my favorite people to watch, and he's almost always bang on. And make sure to check out our videos, extensive breakdowns on Iran as well that we've been posting over the last couple of days as much as possible. The Phoenix of Liberty sent another $5 in the super chat. Thank you very much. I really, truly appreciate that. That's awesome. Josh, the shadow ban is a plan by Rudowski to monopolize the alt media market. We all know it. For Vonu, check Shane Radliff's work at LUA Publications. I don't know. Luke isn't of, how do I say this, the mind to properly do that kind of stuff, to scheme in that kind of way. He's just not. If you knew him well enough, it's funny. Anyway, but I really appreciate that super chat. It means a lot to us, guys. That's literally all we're living on right now. And this is why I'm selling all my stuff, going homeless and moving nomadically through Europe, Asia, and Africa in the next year so that I can continue bringing you guys these videos on a regular basis. Michael Cross said, if we all save in fiat, we will be controlled, save in physical silver, and diversify, in my opinion. Veterans Cannabis Advocacy Group says, stop all your despair, think and then act positive. Well, it's all about creating solutions. But again, I just give people options to help us out while we move into that next step on our ladder to spreading free information online. Kate Catanella says, thanks, Hijinks. I will check out Corbett. Trick the Seed Card Caretaker said, hold Bitcoin, use your Litecoin, and keep your cash for Firestarter. Yeah. Hijinks says, Luke better stop shilling so hard if he wants to corner any part of any market. It's a Corbett report if you haven't already heard of it. Him and The Last American Vagabond are both amazing. Yeah, but again, I don't think Luke's a shill. He's just silly, and he doesn't really care what people think of him. So he doesn't defend himself enough when people make claims about him. So I've talked to him recently. I'm like, don't you think you should kind of at least respond? But he's doing the whole deny, deny, deny kind of tactic, which it works because if anyone knew Luke, the idea of him working for some like evil boss is just hilarious because he wouldn't be able to. He's not capable of it. But yeah, anyway, Kenneth Newberry says, did you see where the Caribbean islands under the shallow shores looks exactly like the channels on the reshot structure? I've heard of that. I've looked into that a little bit. Yeah, it's very interesting. There's a lot of sites that I'm really excited about checking out in the next couple years. And the thought that I can be nomadic and save money by doing that so I can continue bringing that stuff to you is also really awesome. Kate Catanella sent thumbs up again. Thank you, Kate. Thumbs up, everyone. Make sure to press that like button. Middle East, ME, Middle East, of course. Okay, yeah. Sorry about that. I totally forgot the original comment. I'm a little bit behind. The Other Sider says, great to see you on Float, Josh. Absolutely. It was one of the first flote.app. I was just spending time with their CEO last night at their house. Hijink says, I love people seeing the support, but super chats do take 30%, just FYI for everyone. Yeah, well, there's also GoFundMe, Patreon, Subscribestar, Float.app, a lot of different options. Anything truly helps, guys. If it puts, a couple crackers in front of me, that's good. It helps me survive. It's a good thing. Seamus Michael Richard Duffy says, how would private courts work? I actually did a whole video on private courts once. But it would be just by the demand of publics in voluntary contractual, civilization societies, voluntary societies where people agree on certain rules and certain ideas under the private contract without being forced or extorted or, pulled into this kind of organized crime racket. There's no, utopia. Utopia literally means no place. We're not talking about everything being perfect here, but what we are saying is that it's better than an organized crime racket running the demand for a court system which is heavily on the side of the state and causes all these miscarriages of justice, which there you would see in private courts as well, but there'd be more demand among the public for that, and those people that are running that in a much smaller society would have to answer to the people at a much greater scale, or else risk not just disassociation but also possible red flagging, social credit, not being able to spend money at different stores, and being run out of town. I mean, that's kind of the part about demand. If they do the wrong thing, they get called out for it, and that's the same with restaurants and businesses. You have a bunch of bugs in your food, and people are, if they know about it, they'll disassociate and go elsewhere. But there's a lot more to it than that. Veterans Cannabis Advocacy Group says, where you read the chat, faced and booked. I don't know what that means. Marshmallow Duck says, when will you go back to the reshot structure? Soon. I can't release any information on that yet because I'm in talks with people, and there's more news to come for sure on that soon. I'm really excited about bringing that to you guys, by the way. Kenneth Newberry says, Trump, the greatest president of my life. I say the greatest president is you. You ruling yourself and not depending on a collective entity to extort people to push your ideas. Andrew Gibson says, where are you from? I live just outside of Vancouver. I used to live in Ladner, Andrew. I from Winnipeg initially. I live in Las Vegas today. Tesh Osborne says WWG1WGA Trump 2020. Okay. Kenneth Newberry says, I wonder if the parting of the Red Sea pushed salt water into the Sahara. I'm not sure about that event necessarily being that situation. I don't think it's tied into the ancient flood stories that the ancients talked about, but I do think for sure the sand of the Sahara came from the ocean. John Wagner says, thanks, my feed has been almost devoid of subjects that used to come in daily. It's happening to many people. What is your next project going to be concerning ancient global civilizations theory? I'm going to be heading out to Europe, Asia, and Africa soon because I have no choice because I'm going homeless. I can't pay any bills. YouTube has bankrupt me and shadow banned me to death. So as you can see, 119 of 136,000 people are watching. Says all you need to know about our shadow banning. If you press like, it helps it. I mean, people that have 10,000 subscribers end up getting 800 to 1,500 people watching at a time on their live streams. And look at us. It's crazy. I've been just thrown to the side by YouTube and they've destroyed me. So I have no choice but to leave the country, leave the continent essentially in order to survive and continue bringing free information online. And I'm passionate about it, so I'll never give up. And I don't negotiate with terrorists like the financial terrorists at YouTube. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be in a lot of ancient sites like in Egypt and around the region of Greece. And Cyprus, of course. So I'm really looking forward to bring a bunch of videos from there. Depends when, though, and it depends if I can work something out to go to Mauritania soon, but it wouldn't be my money going there, so I'd have to depend on others. I have things to say and information to release on that soon, but I can't quite yet. Michael Davis sent $5 in the super chat. Thank you very much, Michael. He says, I wish I could do what you are planning. Good luck and stay safe on the other side. I appreciate that. Thank you very much. It was great to hear from all of you, and those super chats go a long way here at WHAM. So thank you, thank you, thank you. Too Smart says, do you think Google /YouTube /Twitter /Facebook should lose Section 230 protection as merely providers? Well, I don't believe in government protection anyway. I would say that people need to just leave this terrible platform. The only reason I'm on here live right now is because I want people to see the things I'm saying, spread that information, go to these other platforms like float.app, which is incredibly important. Zoltan Baze says, good point. Hijinks says, now they want people to think people care and are going to do something about it so they don't try to. Trick the Seed Card Caretaker said, Hijinks, exactly, donate Bitcoin. At the end, he'll show his QRC. All goes to him. I can't show that on this particular video, unfortunately, which is really frustrating to me. But my address is below in the description, as well as a whole bunch of other crypto addresses. If you want a tip in crypto, we really, truly do appreciate it. It goes a long way. So I really appreciate that. It's what's keeping us alive right now. So check out those links below. And buy merchandise. We got shirts including No War in Iran. We got shirts like F the Fed, End the Fed. Statism is cancer. Nobody for 2020. Creepy old guy 2020 with a picture of Joe Biden sucking on a finger. All sorts of stuff like that. So make sure to check out our merchandise in our Teespring store linked below. And if you want to go to Anarchapulco, you could use promo code WHAM. That helps as well, and it saves you money. Kenneth Newberry says, have you seen the guy's video where he shows fossilized giants in the reshot structure? I do not believe these are, but should be examined. Yeah, I've seen a lot of fakes regarding the reshot structure, and having been there, it's really frustrating. And there's certain things I can't go into there yet. I will be coming out about certain things later on, but yeah, there's some people out there that have really messed around with this story. One person that's been really awesome, though, is Jimmy from Bright Insight. He's done incredible work on the site and has really brought all these people's eyes and attention to the site. And Brian Forster has been doing excellent work. Maybe not the reshot, he hasn't gone there, but just around the world exploring ancient civilizations. He often tunes into our live streams here and says hi, and I always really appreciate Brian. He does awesome work. He's one of the few people going on the ground to all these sites all over the world and bring these things, documenting them and bringing them to people's attention, which is very important. Let's see. Hijinks sent a thumbs up. I agree. Press like on this video if you haven't already, guys. Zoltan Bose says media literacy. Kate Catanella says Hollywood is doing bad. No one wants to see these hypocrites anymore. I agree. Disco Murph, that's an interesting name, says, Josh, what are your thoughts on Trump's threat to bomb Iranian ancient cultural sites? It makes me sick to my stomach, and I'm sick of mass murder, destruction of, all of his supporters were like, we can't take down these Columbus statues, and I agree, like, don't destroy history. But now it's like, oh, well, but it's all part of, trusting the plan and ending the deep state. It's like, oh my God, so frustrating. People are not consistent anymore, and this happens every cycle. It's so freaking frustrating. This is why collectivism is cancer, and it always grows like a cancer. You can cut 95% out, but there's still 5% remaining, and it grows always. Carlos Alexandro says, Ricky Gervais filmed the original Office series down the road from where I live here. He is a legend. Yeah. Kenneth Newberry, and I really do enjoy his comedy. It's great. Kenneth Newberry says, I loved watching your trip. Mauritania looked rough on you. Yeah, I think I aged about 10 years out there, and I think Anam and Micah can say the same about that. Especially going through a minefield. That was a little bit nerve-wracking. I hate to say it, but I wish I got a little bit more credit for that. We literally, there was exploded vehicles everywhere, and we almost hit a landmine. This guy behind us honked at us, and we skidded to a stop and backed up and went around it. We came inches away from hitting a landmine and died. You'd think that would have millions of views, 30 hours of footage, and I was forced to bring it down to 3. I wanted to bring it down more and edit it more, but people were calling me a fraud and a scam artist for not posting it for free to everyone sooner. Like, I do all the work myself, so it was very frustrating. Anyway, whatever, it's up, and it is what it is, and I am going to be going back. Kenneth Newberry, I read that one. Anthony says some more great channels. Yeah, Aristos Melopolis says Greece is the beginning and the end of A Omega. Devin T says research the flat Earth. I have. Anthony says AE 911 Truth. Artifacts and architects and engineers for 9/11 Truth. Corbett Report. Blah, blah, blah. Okay, yeah, I've interviewed Richard Gage. He's a good friend of mine many times. Bebe R. Rodriguez says, at Kenneth, do you have the link? Devin T says, expose the flat Earth and the world will turn against the rulers. I don't know about that. But anyway, you wrote that a lot of times. Stop writing the same comments, guys, like 50 times. That doesn't help. Evan Ellis says, God will win. Well, we always hope good will win over evil. Hijinks says, why with the spam? I agree. Anthony says, yeah, D Live was tough on Marf. All right, I don't know what that means. Zoltan Bose says it's an eroded sedimentary basis or basin. That's interesting, huh? Kenneth Newberry says, thank you so much. Andrew Gibson says, are you on D Live? I don't remember. After they deleted a bunch of videos, I stopped posting on there about a year and a half ago. I mostly focus on Float and BitChute these days as much as possible, as well as Minds. I'm on there. I'm on Instagram at World Alternative Media. You can follow me there as well, a whole bunch of different places. Whatever helps me reach people while YouTube shadow bans me, among other things like Twitter. Twitter shadow bans me as well, at World Alt Media on Twitter, by the way. Aristos Melopolis says, thank you, brother. Appreciate you watching. Kate Catanella says shared. Thank you very much. And make sure to press like, guys, on this video. It helps us out with the algorithm a lot. Music 101 says cheers, bud. Cheers to you as well. Trick the Seed Card Caretaker says Wham is great, but you have the world's longest video outros. Yeah, well, people don't have to watch it. It's just it helps people know where they can help, because if I don't do that, everyone complains that I'm not giving people enough ways to help and support, and it's like, well, I kind of need people to support for this media to survive. So I mean, I have long outros, so I give everyone options, and then there's a video clips that I kind of enjoy showing and bragging about in a humble way at the end. And the Fed 2011 says, I found normies are becoming more open to hearing the truth, not getting into glaze-eye sheeple reaction anywhere near as much as in the past. And I agree with that for sure. And I find there's a lot to be said, though, about people are getting more and more prone to see anti-establishmentarianist stuff, and that's why YouTube's shutting us all down and calling us controversial hate speech content or whatever. But at the same time, I feel like the mainstream is trying to utilize that in their own way and in their own controlled opposition way. And that's why, as much as I really like Ricky Gervais, I wasn't like 100% that he wasn't just trying to get new people to watch, the Golden Globes last night. Because, I mean, like, no one's watching the Golden Globes anymore. It's terrible. I don't know, actually, I didn't even know it was happening until it was already happening. And him being super anti-establishmentarianist will bring more people to watch it. So, and it worked. I saw a lot of people watching it because of it, and everyone's talking about it today, whereas no one would have been talking about the Golden Globes otherwise. The Raven says, Trump's handlers are Jewish, which is why he's pro-Israel. I think he's pro-Israel because most leaders have to be pro-Israel or else they get in a lot of trouble. Kenneth Newberry says, no, I don't give. No, I don't. Give me a sec. If he doesn't say, I will find it. Long video of his trip. It's awesome. We went through a lot to go there. Huh, interesting. The Phoenix of Liberty says, and the Fed 2011. Have you checked out Larkin Rose's Candles in the Dark classes? Absolutely, and Larkin's a friend of mine, and I know him quite well. He's a good guy. Hijink says, yep, went to a Jesuit school at the Raven. Free Thought Domain says they keep poking, waiting for retaliation. Absolutely, and they expect, and they expect them to retaliate eventually, but Iran has been very good at not really retaliating that much. So anyway, I keep getting emails from YouTube that say important changes to YouTube today. So that kind of makes me nervous. I don't really even want to know almost. I'm still at 5:05 p.m. here in the chat. I've got to get up faster, so don't mind me if I scroll through some of these a little fast. The Phoenix of Liberty says, I think with more people coming to terms with the reality of the world around them, it'll be easier to convert individuals from collective ideologies to individual ideologies, and his classes are gold. I agree. Marshmallow Duck sent thumbs up. Thank you for that. Make sure to press like on the video if you haven't already, folks. Hydrink says, I think they all know deep down. I agree. Brian Jones says, we live in the United States of Israel. The Raven says, if Israel doesn't retaliate, then the USA will retaliate for them. Brian Jones says, period. Free Thought Domain says, you surround a country, then whine when they aim their missiles at you. Yeah, I know, it's absurd. Jolly Yaholiver says, good analysis. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Thanks for watching. Free Thought Domain says, still think there will be a FF in Washington. Blames on Iran. That could possibly very likely happen, but it's more likely to happen overseas. Though Iraq just kicked the U.S. out, and the U.S. is forced. They have actually said that they will pull troops out of Iraq, but they all are also saying they're repositioning them. So all these people are going, see, there's no war. It's all fear mongering. It's like, no, they're just saying technically they're going to pull them out of Iraq. That they're going to keep peace and security personnel in the region, which are the same thing, but they're probably just going to use another country as a base and destroy that country instead. Let's see. Nature Knows says, America keep poking at the bee's nest. Absolutely. The Phoenix of Liberty says, oh, thanks, Hijinks. I hadn't seen his yet. Looking for Scott Horton's take on Take Two. Yeah, actually, I know Scott Horton, too. He's a pretty interesting guy. Music 101 says, yeah, going to do any ancient civilization vids. Yeah, I got a whole bunch backed up on Göbekli Tepe. Let's see, Darren Kuyu, Haran. I'm sitting on a bunch right now, but I have no time to make them because I've been working 24/7, and some of the videos are on my other laptop, which I hadn't quite backed up everything down to the moment when it crashed, so I need to pay over $1,000 to get a new laptop, save all my data. It's just like, it's torture because I have no money. I'm in debt, and I can't afford a new laptop. So I'm using an old laptop right now that's super slow, that crashed a couple years ago, which is why I got the other one. Anyway, it's a whole thing. I'm dead broke. That's why I'm selling everything I have moving to be a nomad on the other side of the world so that I can continue bringing you guys content, because I have nothing but bad luck here 24/7, and I get very little monetization these days. A couple dollars a day now. It's like, it's just so unsustainable. It's ridiculous, which is why pledging to our Patreon or our Subscribe Star really helps. I do subscriber-only content as well over the $5 a month tier. Anything helps, guys, because we are just absolutely wrecked right now. I don't even know how else to put it. We have zero money. This is why I'm selling everything I have and moving to the other side of the world. Again, I have no choice but to be homeless so I can keep bringing you guys videos. Anyway, make sure to press like on the video if you haven't already. Free Thought Domain says, in Australia, this is barely covered due to fires still being so bad. Absolutely, and they're trying to push Agenda 2030 there as well. Charlie Oliver says, ISIS was a black op used to try and destabilize Syria and others in the region. Makes sense. Iran would have been fighting them. Yeah, absolutely. And armed and funded by the U.S., like all these other things. And then they come in as a solution to the problem they created in the first place. Hijinks says, no problem. Thumbs up. Thank you very much. The Phoenix of Liberty sent $2 in the super chat. Says, okay, now Josh is shilling for Rudowski. Get it? LOL. Right, come on. But I really appreciate the super chat. I know Luke, he's a goof. He can't possibly be a shill. He's like, if you had to deal with this guy, oh my God. He posted pillows on his store with pictures of my face when I was 14 on it. So ridiculous. People bought him for some reason. Wiley Schmidt says, President Bozo the Clown starts a war right when the impeachment trials are about to start is way too coincidental. Kenneth Newberry says, sorry you didn't say that about Trump till after I commented earlier. Look, I don't know foreign policy, so I will take your word for it. I like and voted for Trump because there were no jobs, and now there is. Those jobs, all that's fake. The real job numbers are tied into the labor force participation rate, which Obama was also using to make it look like his job numbers were good as well. They're not good. They're actually at a huge low, and there's never been so much poverty in the United States since the Great Depression. So all the job numbers are faked. Same within Canada. It'll all come home to roost, but the job numbers are not real. Look at the labor force participation rate. We debated one of Trump's main economic advisors in July, Stephen Moore, on this, and he actually submitted to us and said we were right. Free Thought Domain says, timing of the attack on Iran more to do with planetary alignment than impeachment, but notice no talk of impeachment since. Yeah, whatever distraction they have that week, right? Hijink says, I don't hate on people that voted for Trump. Had I voted, I would have. There are no good choices. Yeah, which is why you should choose yourself and choose freedom. Wally Schmidt says, people create jobs for themselves nowadays. The president has nothing to do with it. Free Thought Domain says, I get the feeling the impeachment was be used to Trump was avoiding war with Iran. Now he is doing it. They have backed the truck up. Yeah. Kate Catanella says, do you think the U.S. is on the way to World War III with Iran via a false flag in the U.S. followed by gun grab, martial law? UN has put out a notice looking for people to apply for employment in law enforcement. Yeah, well, I mean, you basically said it all there. I think that's definitely true. Very, very likely. I'm not going to speculate, but I do know that that's definitely something that would be perfect for the establishment if they wanted to do that kind of thing, and they definitely do, because the more control, the better for them, right? They survive off of the control and dependence of the masses. The Curdy Cake says, cryptos along with gold and silver will make a run soon. Pull the trigger or regret it the rest of your life. Escape the fiats. I agree. In my opinion, I definitely think, especially with talk of war, it's definitely going in that direction. And the monetary system needs a war, and that's what they're trying to do right now. It's out of desperation, all of it. Kenneth Newberry says there's always an impeachment trial or investigation, and when he proves how ridiculous that accusation is, there will be another investigation or impeachment. People still believe Trump is dirty. Wow. Free Thought Domain says, I would stay away from Washington as I think a false flag will be carried out to make its citizens back the war. I don't know if that's going to happen in Washington. It would be more useful in LA or New York for these a bunch of psychopaths. Brian Jones once again says, we live in the United States of Israel. Matt Spence says, hey Josh, good to see you, Matt. Always good to see you. Hijink says, yep, sorry, he wouldn't be there if he wasn't, but we can agree to disagree, nothing but respect. John Wagner sent $4.99 in the super chat. Thank you so much, John. I really, truly appreciate that. Again, those super chats go a hugely long way here at Wham. It keeps us alive. It's the only thing keeping us alive because that super chat he sent there is more than I made in the entire day yesterday off of YouTube because they have ripped us to little pieces and they still put ads in our videos and then take all the money for themselves. It's sick, it's wrong, it's horrible, and it's a destruction of independent media, which is why we're trying to transition into the next phase, but we need your help while we're doing that transition. Nonetheless, I'm selling everything I have and moving to be a nomad so that I can continue giving you guys videos on a daily basis because I do not negotiate with terrorists. And by terrorists, I mean, you know, the monetary terrorists that are trying to censor me. Simon Cohen says 5G boxes on every street, thousands of sats put up in the sky. All to download movies a bit quicker. Can't wait as I'm always downloading movies when I'm popping to the shops. Yeah, the 5G stuff is ridiculous and super inefficient and super expensive as well. Kenneth Newberry says, I was broke and had no job. Now I have plenty of work and just bought a house. That dream was dead 2 years ago. Before nobody cared, I had nowhere to live. I don't want to get political. It's just true. Yeah, most people don't care, generally speaking, but there's a lot of great people out there that want to help out if they can, but you just have to find those people and also be a good individual when you have the money too and help other people. Brian Jones says, thanks for all you do. I'm not in a place to donate, so I try to share as much as possible. I appreciate that, Brian. Thank you very much. Kate Catanella says, good for you, Kenneth. The Phoenix of Liberty says, just shared the stream to about 30 groups on Facebook. Hopefully, viewer count goes up a bit. I really, truly appreciate that. That's awesome. Thank you very much. That's awesome. Glad to see those shares. And pressing like helps a lot on this video as well. If you haven't already, it helps us with the algorithm. Hijink says, I'm glad. Matt Spence says, you look pretty tired. I am insanely tired. Thanks for noticing. Hijink says, glad it's working well for you, Kenneth, but my man with a bachelor's we owe $50,000 for is working in a call center with people that barely have high school diplomas. Yeah. Hijink says, same at Brian Jones. Hijink says, who did he just say? Rob B says, they just want to win or be right. The Phoenix of Liberty says college is a scam. I saw an NIA video in like 2007 putting the college conspiracy on blast. Absolutely. It's a huge waste of money in my opinion. I think trade jobs are definitely better, statistically speaking, or trade school. The Phoenix of Liberty says, anyone else just lose the live stream? No. Are people having trouble? I hope not. Anyway, ARGTV 100 says, it does not take a college indoctrination to realize that everything is a lie. In fact, indoctrination is designed to keep people in ignorance of the truth. And that's why I left school in 9th grade, and I never looked back, and I learned more in the first month out of high school than I did in all my years of school combined, and here I am, and I'm very proud of it. No money or not, whatever it might be, it doesn't matter. I'm doing something I love and I believe in, and I'm always going to be grateful for that. Let's see. Eric Schneider says, the Luciferian killers want to start World War III to depopulate Earth. That definitely helps for them. Less people that they have to control. Hijink says, agreed at ARGTV 100. Kate Catanella says, I don't think more people will watch the Globes who watch it on the videos after the show. That is true. Hijink says, I didn't and won't be watching it. Kate Catanella says, I just watched Ricky's intro. I have no interest in watching it otherwise. Yeah, I mean, I saw it too. I mean, a lot of us watch it because it was interesting. Calling out Epstein and then calling people pedophiles in Hollywood is hilarious because they are. And it's sick and they need to be called out, especially when these mainstream medias are all covering up for them, like BBC and like ABC and Disney. So anyway, make sure to press like on this video if you haven't already. Let's get those likes above 200. We're at 189, so let's do that. Was Up 52 says, I try to show my dad the alternative news, but he ends up reacting in an angry way, not believing what I have to say, and why I think MSN BBC is fake news. He likes Rachel Maddow too much. Ugh. Who can possibly like Rachel Maddow? Anyway, my dad was a lefty government worker at one point, and now he's probably commenting and watching this right now, and he is very much against all that stuff today. So, I mean, there's always hope. If you can make someone that works for the government, and we're talking about the roads, he was foreman for a city. But if you can make someone that works for the government that's on the left move to our side, then I'm sure you can make almost anyone go there. They just have to break their inhibitions and stop being stubborn. Seamus Michael Richard Duffy said, should abortion be illegal? That's an issue that is really sketchy to talk about. I I'm against abortion, but I'm also not in a position to crack down. And obviously, you don't want to organize crime racket cracking down because those are the things, those are the entities that end up killing the most people. Government kills more people than any other entity in the world. Millions of people dead. I'm not going to get myself tied up into that conversation, but I will say that while I'm against it personally, I don't believe government is a solution. I think association or acceptance or markets will make rules around that or lack of rules, however the people decide. But I definitely, man, that's about the most unpopular conversation anyone could possibly have. The Phoenix of Liberty says, yep, came back, but I had to close YouTube and reopen. Probably my connection, but you never know these days. Adam says, my Digibyte people. All right. Patrick says, I wonder if Ben Garrison is in the fetal position in a bottle right now. Trump was his peace guy. Whoops. Yeah, I know. A lot of people fell for it. Voice in the void. Molly, hey, how's it going? Hello, friend. Hello to you as well. Chap. Lass. Seamus Michael Richard Duffy says, I live in the Commonwealth of Texachusetts. Hijink says, what's up, 52? I feel your pain. I live with two liberals that love Bill Maher. That just sounds terrible. Eric Schneider says, central banks want most of humankind to be debt slaves. Kate Catanella says, oh my God, hijinks, voice in the void. Sent a bunch of laughing faces. What's up, 52 says, oh dear. In the world today, says bullocks, all of it. A lot of, most things are bullocks. Make sure to press like if you haven't already. We're at 199 likes. Come on, let's get to 200 likes on this video. Nicholas Schulten says, maybe just screw it and get a job and start offset later. I always thought the Enlightenment would happen, but it won't. That's just human nature. Well, I have a passion for what I do, so I'm going to do it 24/7, even if I'm living on the streets. Nothing's going to stop me, and I don't give up. That would be the worst form of defeat. Hydrink says, but they like guns, so I can handle it. The voice in the void, ASMR, says, they all lie. Overlords are just puppets for the small hat world owners. Yeah, absolutely. I agree. It's at the end of the day, it's a battle of good versus evil. Adam says, Digidollar. Eric Schneider says, our world leaders' heads. Alex S. says, you have an opinion on the Canadian Bachelor? On the Canadian Bachelor? Hell no. Seamus Michael Richard Duffy says, what's run by the state shan't ever be great. Duffy for president 2040. All right, I'll be there in 20 years. 2040 is only 20 years away. 2000 was 20 years ago. Why does 20 years ago feels like a super long time ago? No, 20 years ago seems like not that long ago, but 20 years in the future seems like it's a super long time away. I don't know what it is about that. I guess people's resistance to aging and getting closer to death. I don't know. I don't know where I'm going with that. Kenneth Newberry says, not here, man. I'm an independent contractor. People in the Southeast have money to hire me now. I see it with my own eyes. Of course, the Southeastern United States was in horrible poverty 2 years ago. Yeah. Hijinks says, you said it. The voice. Luddite Love says, why am I seeing many 9/11 memes as a reason to go to war with Iran? Like, what? Did I miss something? Mike Pence claimed that Iran was somehow responsible for 9/11. They're using the same old recycled material that they did in the Iraq War. And they all proven to be a lie, and now here we are again. What's up 52 says, at least y'all agree on that. I come to the conclusion to just let him find out the real news when it comes out, only explain it to him when I'm asked. Eric Schneider says, our world leaders are acting like internet trolls taking a crap on, or talking crap on the world scene. Hijinks says, good question at Luddite Love. Kate Catanella says, Pence made a claim that Iran was responsible for 9/11, Luddite Love. I'm actually catching up in the chat here. I'm getting close. Hijinks says, yep, that helps keep peace, lol. The voice in the void ASMR says, just subscribe to Hijinks. And Hijinks sent a thumbs up. Thank you very much for the thumbs up, everyone. Make sure to press like on this video if you haven't already. 214, not too bad. Kate Catanella says, just sub to Hijinks too. Hijinks says, lol, I don't do content, but thanks, guys. And more thumbs up. The voice in the void ASMR says, indoctrination centers don't reach your skills, just gobbledygook. Tech you skills? I think you've got some spell check errors there, Amanda. Hijinks, maybe you should produce content. Kate Catanella sent more thumbs up. Lots of thumbs up happening here, and I appreciate it. And if you haven't already, get your shirt at our Teespring store that says "No War in Iran." We have F the Fed. We have End the Fed. Statism is cancer. Nobody for President 2020. Taxation is theft. All sorts of stuff. Epstein didn't kill himself. Check out our t-shirts and merchandise below in the description. And find us on float.app, flote.app. The future of social media, set to replace Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, Tumblr, Reddit, and Patreon all in one. And with super chats on the live streams, monetization on the videos that are native on the site, monetization on posts, as well as encrypted messaging. So I honestly, I really do have a great passion for what they're doing over at Float. So make sure to find us at Josh Sigurdson as well as at Wham if you haven't already. Sorry, I'm tilting this all weird. Got to plug in my phone here. It was plugged in. It just randomly said that the battery's about to die. So let's make sure that doesn't happen. All right. Kenneth Newberry says, I think y'all are getting the wrong idea. I have 52,000 student loan debt. I had to survive. A person I met had an abandoned house and was facing fines. I bought for 19,000. I work for myself. Hijinks says, I'm a tech phobe and camera shy, but I'll look into it. You'd be surprised how shy I was until I forced myself into this world. Aaron Levi says, there are more solutions than there are problems. I 100% agree, and that's exactly my sentiment at the end of the day. John Wagner sent $14.99 and says, I'm not in a place to donate either, but it's people like you that keep people like me informed. Best of luck. Have some dinner on me. I really, truly appreciate that, John. That means a lot to hear. If you guys literally can't donate, I feel bad if you do, but I really, truly appreciate the support. It's literally all that's keeping us up and running right now. Like I said, I'm selling everything I have and moving as a nomad to the other side of the world so I can keep posting videos because YouTube has ripped us to shreds and we make almost no money anymore. So a couple dollars a day doesn't keep a roof and over our head and food on the table. My dad said, lefty. Well, you were. You totally were. You were like, a little bit of socialism's good way back when, and that kind of changed. Thanks to me indoctrinating you with Ron Paul videos. Shane Lackey sent waves and peace signs to you as well. Thank you. M. Ace's dad has been indoctrinated and it's ingrained sometimes. Lol. My dad says, why I oughta. Ghost Pink T says, you're not the only one with an angry dad. It's hilarious. Hijink says, hey, Josh's dad. Kenneth Newberry says, you can't work for them. I want to help. I don't do the modern thing anymore. I was going under. I now deal with cash only and have prepaid thing for must-have times. Can you give me an address? Sorry, what kind of address? I can't give out addresses on YouTube. I would be in a lot of danger if I did that. But you can send me an email at worldalternativemedia@gmail.com. That's worldalternativemedia@gmail.com. Say you're Kenneth and just message me there and I can give you more details that would help our situation there. I really appreciate any support I can get, guys. It means a lot. Pressing like on this video is support as well. The Voice in the Void ASMR says, this is one of the few YouTube channels where I can comment without being muted. Really? That's weird. MA says, do you think even half of the amount of people would show up for Trump funeral as much as Soleimani's? Yeah, actually, yeah, I do. One thing I will say is that Trump is very popular among a ton of people. It's actually quite annoying at times because, a lot of the people on the left are like obsessively anti-Trump, and then the people on the right are obsessively so pro-Trump that if anyone says anything rightly bad about Trump, like blowing up children or something, or like saying that due process, or take the guns first, due process second, red flag laws, all that kind of stuff, prohibition, then people are like, they suddenly defend him because it's their guy, and I think that's just a really annoying way of going about it. But yeah, I think a lot of people like him for sure. I think he'll win another election. Kenneth Newberry says, for money order, I almost live off the grid now. It's the only way here. Well, I really appreciate that. Yeah, just email me for sure at worldalternativemedia@gmail.com, and we can figure that out. That's awesome. Super Conscious says, Kate Catanella, are you hot? That's an odd question. Nature Knows says, thumbs up, folks. Afraid Angel said, number 200. Okay. Hijinks says, that's awesome, Kenneth Newberry. Kate says, lol. Afraid Angel says, good evening, chat. Hijinks says, Afraid Angel, and waved at him. Aaron Levi or Levy says, what's your gold and Bitcoin price predictions by end of year 2020? I have no predictions for that. I can't do that. It's irresponsible. But I do think we're going to be heading into a bull market, especially with the fear in the media and the idea of the economy and the markets possibly prospering throughout 2020 just blows my mind that that could possibly even happen. So I think there's a lot of reason to just look at it as wealth insurance. It's not even about its price as much as it is it's not about price action as much as it is about wealth insurance at the end of the day. Kenneth Newberry says you can't deal with banks, you go under. Awful Workplaces says, when I think of Europe, I think of all the inbred kings and queens that caused the Dark Ages and were dethroned, contracted vile imperfections due to incest. America cannot turn into an inbred. It's not all that way. Come on. Europe's an amazing place, and it might be a small continent, but there's so many different cultures out there. I love Europe, and I love Asia, and I love Africa. I actually just love everywhere I go, except for Canada. Anyway, MA says Bush and Cheney skull and bones responsible for 9/11. Pence is a lie. Hijinks is along with Mossad. Kate Catanellis and more thumbs up. Thank you again. And make sure to press like on the video. Thanks for reminding me, Kate. Dark Helmet says just bought lots of gold and crypto. I don't think you will regret that. Kate Catanellis says you made it over 200. All right. Sweet. 227 so far in the likes. Matt Spence says this is the most people I've seen on your live stream in some time. Yeah, it's the most they'll allow. It's mostly because of the anti-war videos lately, but those are all demonetized 100%. And then YouTube puts ads on them and takes all the money for themselves. And I'm making about $3 a day on YouTube right now. So yeah, but it's not as bad as Dan Dix at Press for Truth, who makes $0 a day. It's just we're battling for the worst luck ever right now. But I have faith in good over evil eventually. The Voice in the Void ASMR says indoctrination centers don't teach you skills, just gobbledygook. Awful Workplace says I support the Family Unite and independent media and creative writing. Absolutely. Andrew Cannon says, no, man, Bush Jr. was great. He told us what color to be afraid of each week. Terror level pink is the highest level. We had to fight terror in territories. I hate Bush. Shane Lackey says, on a long enough timeline, fiat currency reverts to its intrinsic value of 0. Thanks for getting the word out, Josh. Thank you, Shane. MA says Julian Assange needs to be free. He is all of us, absolutely. We're all Julian Assange, and he is being murdered in prison right now. Also, Epstein did not kill himself, and Chelsea Manning's in prison, too. Hijinks says LMAO, Andrew Cannon. Hijinks says, I agree, MA. Some people say he's a shill and should therefore be ignored, but that part is irrelevant to me. I missed I think Julian Assange. Yeah, I guess. Zoki Zaki says, tell us about the Canadian economy in the near future. Okay, well, I'll get together with John Snyson soon on that and do a video. Tim Pachote currently has a flu, I think. Dark Helmet says, live long and prosper. All right. Nanu. Kathy Bobathi says, he wants to send you money. Make it easy for him. Yeah, I'm not going to give my address on a live stream on YouTube. That's all. Like I said, if he sends an email to worldalternativemedia@gmail.com, we can talk about that. For my own safety, I cannot put my address on a YouTube live stream. It's just not safe for me. But I really do appreciate it. Anyway, Awful Workplace says, I think you should go into radio. Why, my face isn't pretty enough for videos? Yeah, I know. I've been thinking about that for a while, but I'm more thinking of doing like podcasts with all my videos and shows. And I'm in talks right away with David Icke actually about a certain program. So I'll get back to you guys on that later. Kiko FX Design says World War III has never been declared, though. Yeah, no wars have been declared since 1942, technically, legally speaking. But we know when a war has been declared when they do actions that you cannot take back, like killing Iran's top commander. Kate Catanella says war by sanctions. Hijinks says, I think he would be good at that too. Awful Workplace has been watching Derek Brose's radio show on the conscious resistance and really digging it. Awful workplaces says Trump didn't cause Virginia. Marie says hi. Aaron Levy and hi Marie. Sorry, I'm just trying to go through comments. I'm trying to catch up here because I'm almost there. Aaron Levi says I just signed up for Float and followed you. I like Float. I see it gaining mass adoption sometime in the future. I 100% agree. So if you haven't already, find us on float.app. That's the future of social media. flote.app. flote.app. Chris Shapansky says assassinating Soleimani is a declaration of war at Kiko FX Designs. I agree. And then Kiko says, yep, exactly. Awful Workplace says, Hijinks, could you subscribe? Yeah, I agree. Hijinks says, sure, I will check you out. Kathy Bobathi says, no one has a right to hoard resources. People can do whatever they want with their own property. Chuck McMaster says, hiya, crazy times. Oh boy, yeah. Tell me about it. Is it that everything's getting crazier, or is it that we just have more access to information today? That's a question. I'm into the 99th minute in this live stream, so I got to start to wrap things up, but I'm going to get through as much of this as possible. Chris Shapansky says Trump has already admitted that he is there to steal the oil. Yeah, he did mention the oil and say that he wanted to take it. The Phoenix of Liberty says, damn it, I hate getting phone calls when I'm watching live streams. I hate getting phone calls when I'm doing the live stream. It totally screws up my live streams. Chuck McMaster says the empire is changing. The Phoenix of Liberty says, how far behind is he on messages? 20 minutes yet? I'm at 5:47 p.m. and it's currently 5:51 p.m. So I'm very close. The Voice in the Void ASMR says Trump passed a no question the what? Trump passed a no question the Jew law, for crying out loud. People got to get off the Trump train. Yeah. Chris Shapansky says soon after Iran retaliates. My dad says, see you next week, Josh. Looking forward to Vegas. Pew, pew, pew. That totally sounds good. Enjoy immigration after saying that. Marie says, have you heard news hinting at hacking from Iran, more like Israel? Yeah, I have. Lots of that. Super Conscious sent thumbs up. Thank you very much. And big shout out to Zoli, who just sent a $5 Patreon pledge. I just got a notification. It means a lot to us. Thank you. Thank you so much for that. That's awesome. You are awesome. And you're helping keep independent media alive by pledging. So check those links below if you haven't already, folks. It means a lot to us. Hijink says, and has a monument in Israel, The Voice. The Voice says, I know, and his face on a coin or some crap. Yeah. Awful Workplaces says, my Canadian friends don't like Canada either. Huh. Yeah, well, I'm Canadian. I definitely don't like Canada. I just had to go there for Christmas and it was torture. It just made me feel depressed and sick feeling. Andrew Cannon says, everyone look into history more. The white man is not the sole proprietor of suffering across the world. Evil is the sole proprietor. Chris Shapansky says, yep, Mossad is the biggest hacking entity. Peter Knopfler says, three pigs in action. Bibi and Pompeo plus Trump potbelly pigs. The Phoenix of Liberty says, free Schaefer Cox. Damn, Josh, forgetting about the Cox, man. I don't forget about Schaefer Cox. I talk about Schaefer Cox all the time. Hijink says, Assange. I also, you can't forget about Ross Ulbricht. I mean, here, I'll bring you guys over here for a second again. And there's a reason why I have a free Ross Ulbricht sign in so many of my videos here. Everyone needs to sign that petition, and also Michael Edwards, a free Michael Edwards petition, as well as free Schaefer Cox. There's a lot of people that are in jail right now that it's just horrible. Let's see here. It just scrolled way down. I mean, here we go. Aaron Levi says faith, confidence, and recency bias are the only things keeping the stock market and the dollar high, in my opinion. Hijink says yes. Kiko FX Design says get your tinfoil hat on, LOL. Chris Shapansky says, plus the Mossad has backdoors into all the software and telecommunications in the good old US of A. Shar Rose says it lives. King Frost Northside Monster says, may my enemies live long so that they may see me progress. Positive vibrations to you and your loved ones. I appreciate that. Thank you. I agree. Hijink says, they've been printing off infinite amounts. It will bottom out. Macho Tony says, are you voting for Bernie or not? Absolutely freaking not. I don't like slavery. And taxation is theft. Government is organized crime. War is murder. And it's all just collectivist cancer that perpetuates itself as it has for thousands of years. The Phoenix of Liberty says, float is kind of buggy, though. It's in beta. They're actually doing updates right now, so it's a little glitchy at the moment, but it's fine. flote.app. It doesn't have an algorithm either, so it doesn't tell you what you can or cannot see. If you haven't already, guys, make sure to press like. We're losing viewers fast, but I'm getting to the bottom of the chat here. Brucolini Q says, "What about a USA draft?" Well, I won't. I'm Canadian, so I definitely won't be in that. And screw the criminals that use people, human beings, as pawns to sacrifice for the king and the queen. It's all criminal, gangster. They're psychotic. It's 100% psychotic. Char Rose says, "Voice in wilderness burning, or I the desert. It's that I'm both queen." I don't know what you're saying. I'm a little confused by some of the comments here. Shane Lackey says, "You're moving. Your address is temporary anyways. You won't be there to receive whatever dude sends." No, no, no. It's not that. I'm not giving my home address in a live stream on YouTube. I'm sorry. I really appreciate the help, but I just can't do that. That's why I gave him my email, worldalternatemedia@gmail.com. I can't. You have to understand, I live with people. I can't put them in danger. I just cannot do that. Jackie Archambault says Epstein equals Mossad agent. Yeah, 100% agree with you on that. I think there's no doubt. And autopsy pictures just came out of Epstein, I think today, by the way. That's breaking news. Char Rose says off, on, off. Okay. Kiko FX Design says, Chris Shapansky, so true. Most of them don't even care about their surroundings. Jackie Archambault says Epstein equals still living. I'm not sure. It could possibly be. It's hard to say if he's valuable more alive or dead. It's hard to say. They kill their own. Macho Tony says Ilhan Omar 2024. No. Kiro says war with Iran was decided a long time ago. It doesn't matter whether we have a GOP or Democratic government. It is inevitable, and there is nothing anyone could do to stop it. Jackie Archambault says Epstein equals probably still molesting children, but will testify against high-profile officials. Hydrink says, "That's how I feel when I go home to East Texas, LOL." Hydrink says he isn't going to testify. I was with you till you said that. Who? Yeah, I don't know. Andrew Cannon says, "I got to get ready for work. Trump 2020. I hope to see you on Tim Pool's new interview show later, bro. I hope he invites me." The Phoenix of Liberty says, I agreed. Char Rose says, Indiana. I'm not sure what you're getting at there, Char. Seamus Michael Richard Duffy says, "Tell us about how America is going to fall and bring China and the first world down with it." I don't think it'll bring China down with it. I think China will eventually fall, but I think China will rise up as a new world superpower before that happens. I'm almost positive of it. Kate Catanella says, "Bye, Andrew." Chris Shapansky says, "Hit the like button." I agree. Hit the like button, guys, if you haven't already. The Phoenix of Liberty says, "I have to find out who Michael Edwards is now." Yeah, so Kingsley Edwards, who runs Float.app, his father was put in jail for he's been in jail for about 26 years now for about a tablespoon of cocaine back in the early 90s. And he was sentenced to like 60 something years in prison for it under Clinton's zero tolerance laws. It's horrible. He's an upstanding person. He's a decent individual. He had a bit of a tough time back in the 90s with a bit of cocaine, and that led to him being thrown in prison with as he watches child rapists and people go in and out, murderers, mass murderers come in and leave the prison while he's there for his entire life, missing his sons and most of his childhood for a little bit of cocaine. So Michael Edwards is there. Free Michael Edwards. You can find that online. Type in "free Michael Edwards" and look for the petition. You can find "free Michael Edwards petition" or something. Anyway, Awful Workplaces says Trump passed a law where college campuses can't discriminate against Jewish people on American college campuses. Yeah. Jackie Archambault says, "I wasn't asking for validation, but I appreciate your opinion." Hijink says, "No problem, just trying to help." You have a valid source by chance? Valid source on what? Sorry, I'm behind on this chat. I'm at 5:54 p.m. It's 5:59. I'm almost there. Char Rose says 3D organ printers. John Wagner says, "Personal question, maybe off topic. Have you ever seen a UFO?" 100% I have. I've seen multiple UFOs, especially in the middle of Canada, in Ontario, Canada. But I don't know exactly what they are. They could have been government. It could have been some weird interdimensional demonic thing. I don't know what it was. But all I know, I've seen things I can't explain on multiple occasions. And I even posted videos of it when I lived in Ladner, British Columbia, way back. Anyway, Voice in the Void, ASMR says, "Canadians don't even have free speech or the right to protect ourselves with firearms. Canada totally sucks." It totally does suck. 100%. You should move down here. Kate Catanella says, "Only the politicians and their families should be drafted who support war." Yeah, Shar Rose, and they should just shoot at each other, like the politicians on the other side. That's what it should be. Shar Rose says you can't haste mine. I don't know what you're saying. Kiko FX Design says I got it. Oh man, I'm not even gonna read that one. Uh, Aaron Levi Levy says, "Do you have a PO box?" I don't hear. No, I can't say I do. Unfortunately, it's really inconvenient. I know. I apologize. Seamus Michael Richard Duffy says, "You got Snapchat?" I used to, but I got rid of it. I just really don't like Snapchat, and it's a big spy thing too. I'm not a fan of it. Hydrink says, "Wish you guys in Canada that like guns could come here and send the gun grabbers up there." LOL. Yeah, that would be an idea, wouldn't it? By the way, you can find our links below, float.app, t-shirts, and merchandise. Please help us out any way you can. Press like on this video, share the video, all that kind of stuff to help the algorithm, and also find us on things like Instagram, Minds, Twitter, all the mainstream stuff as well. But mostly float.app and BitChute. You can find our work where we'll be when YouTube inevitably takes us down 100%. Marie said, Trump for prison 2020. Hijinks sent the fist, and wow, he says. Shane Lackey says, I wasn't trying to talk you into it. Sorry, I wasn't clear. McManus2311 says, it's not World War III, y'all. Yeah, it is. I mean, the world's been at war for like decades. Seamus Michael Richard Duffy says, I refuse to eat school lunch at my high school because it funds indoctrination, and I hate the food anyway. Smart kid. James Wonker says, under Clinton or Reagan? I'm not sure what you mean. The Phoenix of Liberty says, Jesus, 60 years for a victimless crime. Yeah, it's horrible. So please sign that free Michael Edwards petition. James Wonker says, I'm in the Clintons were the biggest cocaine running drug families in the U.S. Absolutely, they were. Epstein, or Hijink says, Epstein testifying, not you, Josh. Yeah, what am I testifying for? Richard Pratt says, good day from Australia. Australia. I'm not even going to try. We can, or he says, we the drama exploding, and all of us in the Anzac Treaty will be dragged in. We really need the Anzac focused on the CCP invading us. Brucalini Q says government child pedophilia. There's a lot of that in government. Dingleberry Pie, nice name, says, why doesn't anything make any sense? I don't know. I that's a good question. Is anything supposed to make sense? And what does sense mean? I don't know. The only thing that makes sense to me is math because it's definitive, but it's still subjectively translated by humans. Anyway, that goes into a whole weird universal question. Josh Pace says, if we keep saying and thinking it's the beginning of World War III, will it eventually be manifested through our thoughts? Well, it is a beginning. It's already actually many decades into World War III, in my opinion. I think we're heading for World War IV. Kiko says he almost read it. Yeah, I almost read it. I'm not. Jeez. Chris Japansky says the good old USA is even worse than Canada, if that's even possible. I don't think so. I think the US is worse to countries on the outside of the US. Canada is worse to people within its own country, within its own borders. Nonetheless, the US government is incredibly restrictive with the people on the ground within their country as well. It's all terrible. Organized crime is organized crime. Muddy Fun Star says, yeah, very good idea. Put the political people in the field with swords and arrows, etc. Yeah. Andrew A.H. says, have you read Plato's The Republic? I have. I have it on my shelf behind me. Abel Romero said, Bitcoin to the moon. Yeah, absolutely. I hope so. The war talk is definitely helping that turn into a reality. The Voice in the Void, ASMR says, thoughts on all the Australians getting caught for setting the forest fires? Well, I believe that there's a lot of evidence that they started these forest fires on purpose, even with direct energy weapons, possibly, like we saw in California, in order to bring in the United Nations Agenda 2030 regulations. And we saw that already starting to play out for years in Australia with facial recognition, smart grids in places like Darwin, and the push to a Chinese-style social credits, technocratic super state grid, which they've been trying for a long time in Australia. So I definitely think that's part of it. Andrew A.H. says, and are you in favor of more federal or local government for the future? I am in favor of self-governance and voluntary interactions between free people and not slavery. Hijink says, did they really The Voice? The Phoenix of Liberty says, almost there. Almost at the end of these comments here. Kiko FX Design says, Muddy Fun Star, nah, just give them a pen and paper and take notes of how bad war really is, then write to Jesus Christ saying they are sorry. The dreamer is me said, will gold break 2K this year? Very, very likely it will, but I can't put a finger on that, but I think it will, in my opinion. The Phoenix of Liberty says, 2 minutes behind chat scroll. So close. Guys, chill out for a second. Press like instead of commenting for a second so I can catch up. Beach Boy Dennis says, do you think we're heading for World War III? I think we're already there, as I said. The Phoenix of Liberty says, I wouldn't be surprised, Dreamer, if Iran closes the Straits of Hormuz, oil will skyrocket and gold will jump too. And Iran just found a ton of oil, billions of barrels, by the way. So that's also convenient. Silver Slave 333 says, wheel rims are melting, but trees right next to the car not burnt. Yeah, I saw that. Weird. But there's also a lot of fake images, CGI pictures that are being shared around too. So be careful what you share. Muddy Funstar says they don't care how bad it is. They would if it was them forced to fight in a field somewhere. Yeah, absolutely. Aristos Melopolis says not World War III. We're heading for apocalypse. It does seem like Revelations, doesn't it? Especially with all these child drag queens. Silver Slave 333 says buy silver, kill. I'm okay. I'm not going to read that out loud. That's a soundbite I don't need. Kate Catanella gave thumbs up. Again, thank you very much. Make sure to press like on this video if you haven't already. And check those links below. Anything helps, guys. I really appreciate it. Hijinks says, thanks, Josh. You're the only one I've seen make an effort to read what everyone has to say, not just the super chats. Thank you. Yeah, it's actually killing my voice right now, but I'm almost there. I'm almost there. Turbotastic says, love your science reporting. Have you looked into Worlds in Collision by Velikovsky, Electric Universe Thunderbolts channel, Suspicious Observers Daily Solar Weather, and Sky Scholar Sun channel? I've looked into a bit of that, and I've also looked into that massive mirror thing that looks like a honeycomb in space that's supposed to stop sun dimming and beam brighter lights to places like California, which is really interesting. And I have a friend who got an interesting video of that. Silver Slave 333 says World War II, World War One, World War II, World War WWW. Okay, that was weird. The Phoenix of Liberty says been doing that for 7 years. Kiko Hijinks says I'm fascinated by the Electric Universe at Turbotastic. Do you watch the Greg J channel? There's a lot of really interesting channels out there. I don't have time to watch a lot of other people's videos, but I appreciate that so many people are out there these days trying to create their own thing, even though they've been trying to stifle it on YouTube for sure, which is why everyone who has a channel should go to float.app, flote.app, to replace Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, Tumblr, Reddit, Patreon, all in one with encrypted messaging, super chats on their live streams, monetization on their videos that are native there, as well as on their posts. Huge opportunity there. Wallets, crypto wallets, pledges like Patreon and all that. Beach Boy Dennis says thumbs up. I agree. Thumbs up. Thank you. Kiko FX Design says get yourself an EMP shield. Silver Slave 333 says World War One, World War II, World War WWW equals World Wide Web. Yeah, I know what it means. It just didn't slip off the tongue very well because anyway. Seamus Michael Richard Duffy says my friend's school just had a stabbing in Massachusetts. We have wicked, pun intended, strict gun laws. Yeah. It's terrible. So many people have died because of the lack of people being able to defend themselves. It's sickening, and it's just subservience and slavery to the state, and it's wrong. People trust an organized crime racket that's killed more individuals than anything ever in history to protect them from themselves and take away their weaponry. It's just ridiculous. Aristos Melopolis says Clinton bombed Serbia, not Iraq. Yeah, Silver Slave 33 says everything is theater. Bill Clinton, when threatened with impeachment, also started bombing Iraq, exactly like Trump. Yeah, and Aaron Levi says Jim Sinclair says get a 1950 Ford, a car you'll actually be able to drive when you know what hits the fan. Truth, Money, and Freedom says, hey, hello, Wham crew. Good to see you. As always, we are just about to finish off, so make sure to press like on this video if you haven't already. Really appreciate all of these super chats. I got to the bottom of the chat. That was incredibly difficult to do. So I thank you for everyone that sent in messages. You guys are all awesome. I appreciate all of you. Check those links below. GoFundMe, Patreon, subscribe star, crypto addresses, lots of them below. You can consider a pledge or a donation or a tip. We also have our Teespring store where you can get Wham merchandise, including shirts that say no war in Iran and all that kind of stuff. So I really appreciate everyone that's come and helped us keep this live chat lively. And it was definitely lively because my voice is like about to go. So The Phoenix of Liberty says, last I win. Joe Zahn says, Canadian fun fact, more people are killed by moose than AR-15s. Absolutely. Andrew AH says, do you believe that in the future a platform will for people who seek out honest content will emerge? Or will the public lose all contact with the truth due to shadow bans? I think Float is a great opportunity, so everyone should join float.app if you haven't already. Again, flote.app. Check those links below, all there. Phoenix of Liberty wrote, aw. Don't be saying aw. Hijinks says, I believe that Joe's on. Aristos Malopoulos says, you the best. No, you are. All of you guys are. I really appreciate it. If you haven't already, pressed like. We got up to 250 likes on this one. Not too bad. We hit 199 viewers at the top, which is more than we've had in a very long time. So I'm glad that so many people have stuck around and helped us get there. We're very shadow banned. Out of 136,000 people, we barely usually reach more than 40 or 50 people in a live stream at a time. Huge shadow banning. It's killing us, which is why I'm selling everything I own and moving to the other side of the world as a nomad so I can continue bringing you guys content on a daily basis. So I appreciate it so much. $3 a day on YouTube monetization isn't very good. And I mean, yeah, I really appreciate everyone that tunes in and watches us. It keeps us up and running. We see channels with 10,000 subscribers have like 800 people watching at a time, and 136,000 subscribers here and like no one watching for the most part compared to the average percentage that should be, on these other channels that aren't shadow banned. Silver Slaves 333 says, law, kill all the moose. Chad Meyer says, have you checked out the D-Hold Foundation? I'll have to look into that more. I know of it. And I'm trying to finish it off here, but Andrew Levy says, thanks for reading all comments. You're the best, Josh. I appreciate it. You are. Hijinks says, good question. Add Andrew AH. Only time will tell. Beach Boy Dennis says, thanks for the great content. My pleasure. Day Walker says, no, wait. I can't much longer. It's been a while. It's an hour or 120 minutes. That's 2 hours. The Phoenix of Liberty says, does Float do live streaming as well? It does. And it is, I highly recommend it because you could do super chats and stuff in crypto there as well. It's really good. Silver Slave 333 says, Owen Benjamin equals crushing it. Wasn't he just kicked off YouTube? Andrew AH says, thanks again for the great content. Stay strong. We'll do my very best. Silver Curve 33 says, no curve equals no globe. Oh my God. Brucalini Q says, how do we overthrow the government? By living freely and living by example and technology, a revolt or an evolution rather than a revolution. Hijinks says, good question, Phoenix. Been wondering that. I haven't tried it yet. Truth, Money, and Freedom says, 102 watching tonight. The numbers are getting better, still low, but definitely better. It's the war videos that are getting me demonetized, but also helping a few more viewers come in. No, we're getting about 11 to 1,200 views within the first 20 minutes of our war videos on Iran lately. And then within a day, it's hit like 4,000 views. So definitely skewed, but whatever. It is what it is. That's how it is on YouTube. That's why we should go to float.app. Matt Spence says, which country are you going to first? Greece. Cheapest there. The Greek islands are great. And beautiful too. What's up 52 says, what country are you moving to? It's just multiple countries around 3 continents, Africa, Asia, and Europe, because I could do $150 to $350 a month rent, no bills, and fully furnished if I do that through Airbnb. Anyway, Gypsy Tree says, end Zionist Wars. The Phoenix of Liberty says, check out on Facebook at The Dag Show. I'm on Saturdays. It's fun to pick up boomer Trumpsters. Or pick on boomer Trumpsters. The Voice in the Void ASMR says, get right with God. Brian Jones says, thank you, Wham, for always staying true to yourself. Thank you for not selling out. My pleasure. I would rather die than be dishonest to people. So I appreciate the support. It means a lot to me. Seamus Michael Richard Duffy says, what did you want to do when you grew up, when you were a kid? I didn't know until one day I just fell into it. Life is what happens when you're busy making other plans, as John Lennon says, and I think everyone should follow that and not be trying to find themselves. You already found yourself. It's what you're doing with that information that really brings you to that next level. I would just say, don't do anything you don't want to do. Doesn't mean don't do things that don't stress you out, because you got to get stressed out. But don't do things that you don't want to do or be remembered as. Andrew Levy says, the U.S. empire is just like Rome, but people just don't see it. They're too distracted by technology and debt. Michael Healy says, how are you liking Vegas? I love it. Vegas is amazing. Check out Voluntary Vegas on Facebook, by the way, and give it a like. It's a community we started here. Chad Meyer says, multidimensional theory of existence is going to help you on your journey. I'm going to have to sign out, though. I'm getting like crazy amounts of comments still, and I can't do it anymore. Michael Healy says, I lived in Vegas 24 years, born and raised in a super Corporatized, yeah, as always, but it's how you live as a free human being. Jad Myers said Lennon, thumbs up. Anyway, let's finish this up. Carl Schutz says Muppet Mayhem. Yeah, well, all right. So I appreciate everyone joining us. TurboTastic says, love your work. Your clear message ranks with Larkin, Rose, Disenthrall. I really appreciate that. Both of them are my friends, and it's always great to be put in a boat with amazing people like that. Okay, that's about it for today. So thanks for joining us, everyone, and I'll be back with you guys with much more. Make sure to keep going back to the WAM channel to see our latest content, because we can't really reach people anymore. It's basically impossible. So all those people that watch, thank you so much. Make sure to press like as we go out here. And until next time, this is Josh Sigurdsson signing out from World Alternative Media. Find the truth. Be the change.